And we are live on the PHU Dynasty podcast. This is episode 89, and boy, do we have a great one here for you today. We have the 2025 rookie draft review in its entirety, along with the everybody loves the schedule release. It's one of my favorite parts about finishing the draft. So what we've done today, and before I continue, I should probably try to share this link like I did last time, because for whatever reason, StreamYard used to give you the link ahead of time. I can't figure that out yet. So I'm going to find where the stream is located on YouTube and then send it out to the entire league to view. So I'm going to go into our PHU Dynasty podcast YouTube page, and I believe if I go to the channel and then click live, there it is. Beautiful. Okay, so if in the future, if everybody would like to see the podcast, you can always go to the YouTube channel itself and click live. So I'll put in the chat right now. All right. So we got a whole lot of content for this podcast. Sean, are you excited for this wonderful rookie draft review?
I was born to perform in this very moment. I'm ready.
We have both spent a disgusting, absurd amount of time reviewing these rookies.
What did Gladstone say about Travis Hunter in that?
That guy has some funny sayings. I think if like he's gonna be a great case study, because if these things work out, he's gonna get a plaque on the wall with his name and like his quotes. And if it doesn't work out, then it's gonna be like the Duval all over again. Like it's just gonna be an infamous thing that he's doing. But I feel like this year I did a disgustingly large amount of film review, and I dove so deep into it. I had 92 players ranked, which I think is absurd for a 72 or a 70 player rookie draft. I have 92 players ranked. I had draftable grades on 80 or so of those. So I found guys like in the UDFA pool that like towards the end of the episode, maybe I'll just throw them out there because there's no way I'm ever going to be able to roster them at this point. But I might be able to come back 4 years later and say, hey, I knew about that guy. You know, this is our shot to shoot our shots here. So that being said, I think we should just dive right into the rookie draft and start right at the top with Dustin here.
Do we have to finish the rookie draft first, or?
So I was going to wait. I was going to hold that to the end. So like we can talk about the picks, and then we can do your 7-10 live on air. And then at the end, we'll have our schedule release, and we can talk about the week one matchups. I think that's everybody's always favorite piece of the schedule release is the week one matchups. And then who gets to play Alex twice is the next piece of it. So we'll see that's a gift that keeps giving. Was who it used to be who plays the Armadillos twice, who plays the Elk twice, who plays the Lamb twice. Now this year, I feel like it's going to be the who plays the Muskrats twice again. So this is an exciting time. So I'm trying to decide if we should just go through the picks one by one, or if we should maybe just review the whole team. I know we talked about this a little bit via text, but my thought was maybe at least for the first like 4 rounds, we could talk about each pick, and then maybe the teams as a whole, because I feel like the 5th, 6th, and 7th are maybe a little bit we don't need to grade 6th round picks, Sean. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I feel like it's not necessary, but I'd like to talk about all 69 of the players as it stands. Maybe 68 if you don't want to talk about Deshaun Watson, because I don't. Yeah, I mean, I would much rather talk about Quinn Ewers at 7-4. So Beautiful. I want to spend. So let's start at 1-1.
One at a time. Let's
run it. Let's run it, because I got a lot to say about almost every prospect. So let's just run it right at the top. I mean, I feel like like I said, we've been talking about the draft via Marvel Rivals for how many months now? This is our shot. So
while.
And I've had to we had the prospect propaganda episode, which James developed, and like now we can really say our true thoughts on these players. So let's start right at the top. 1-1. Ashton Genty, he sucks. He's gonna be a bust. He's terrible. Nobody wanted him.
I definitely he's going to wear number 2 for the Raiders, and that number is.
Is he wearing number 2, Sean? I didn't.
He's wearing 2.
That's horrible.
It came out today.
What did he wear? What did he wear at Boise State?
I assumed it was like whatever the opposite of retiring a number is like that was Jamarcus.
That's Shedeur Sanders numbers. Like I don't want that. What did he wear in college? Did he wear 2? Let me look. Boise State, Ashton Genty. We'll do the research right now. Because this is a big deal to me. That's a tough jersey. Okay, he's number 2 apparently as well, so it's not
consistent.
At least he's consistent.
There was a running back that's wearing like 22 or
22 is one of my favorite running back numbers. So
or no, not 22. Oh no, it was Matthew Golden is wearing 20. We'll get to him.
He's wearing 22 as a receiver. He'd been dropped down my board.
We'll get to it.
That's an important thing. Okay, let's get to that later.
Sorry.
Ashton Jeanty, he goes 1-1 to the Dustin Gilchrist-led Kentucky Elk. The obvious 1-1. The landing spot, Sean, with the Vegas Raiders, excellent. He's going to get the touches. This goes back to what Charlie said on the podcast a few weeks back, where the Pete Carroll-led Raiders, with their son as the run game coordinator, they're going to feed the shit out of this ball to Ashton Jeanty. He is going to be the center of the offense. He's going to have stupid projections, I'm sure, in your models heading into the season. I mean, is there a reason to believe that he could be the RB1 year one? Like, I think there is.
I wouldn't like say no. I wouldn't bet for it, but I wouldn't say no.
But I was saying, like, there's a real chance. I think, like, it's definitely a non-zero.
It won't be because of the touches he gets, I think. So,
yeah, I mean,
he'll be top 5 of the position in year one.
I mean, I think from a redraft standpoint, you're drafting Ashton Jeanty in the first round. Like, it's just that simple. Yeah. I can't. He's going to be one of the safer players
in our redraft league. I think he goes top 5.
Where did Bijan go when a couple of years back? When
he went at the end of 1,
like maybe pick 8 or something like that. Like, yeah. I feel like there's been enough cases where these rookies have really, shown out in these first couple of years, where teams in our redraft league specifically are more willing to take these rookies higher up. I remember we had the Sean Greens back in the day where they didn't quite pan out as nicely, but the Jahmyr Gibbs recently, Bijan, Saquon year 1 was a first round pick, I'm sure. So like all these guys, I mean, Jeanty as a prospect, when you compare him to, Bijan and Saquon from years past, he's right up there. I put him right up there with Bijan. I don't think he was quite Saquon. If you watch Saquon from Penn State again, like sometimes when I'm bored, I'll just turn on Saquon highlights from Penn State, because he is so sick on those highlights. He's doing things that nobody really ever did, except for Barry Sanders. So the next closest guy, I think, from a highlight standpoint, would really be Jeanty. So
Bijan went 3rd overall his rookie
year. Okay, so yeah, so he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be all that far off from that. I think middle of the first round.
Right. Gibbs, Barkley. Who else? There's another one that Bijan.
Gibbs, Barkley, Bijan. I'm trying to think of a few. I'm sure it'll come to me, but
the other guys like Henry might get his continued push down every year for some reason, because he's
that seems to happen.
CMC's probably not going ahead of him.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for the first round.
Yeah,
but anywho, with the Elk, I mean, this is the obvious pick. I mean, realistically, I mean, I inquired on a trade just to see. It didn't seem like that was going to be even a possibility with Dustin, and he wasn't going to move off this pick, rightfully so. I really don't blame him one bit. But this is a great centerpiece to have for this rebuild. A lot of really interesting picks here. I'll pull up I forgot to pull up the draft screen, but here it is. So I'm highlighting each team as we get to each pick. But, just overall for Dustin, this is a really nice draft class. So great pick at 1-1. I don't think we need to grade every pick, but let's grade draft classes at the end, because I think you're going to do draft grades for the picks in your article, right, Sean? If I'm not mistaken.
I did for the draft classes.
Okay, so you did for the full class. So then maybe we should do pick by pick then, at least for the first few rounds here.
That's fine. I mean,
this is an obvious A, right?
This is a don't fuck it up, bud kind of thing. Like, it's an A unless you do anything else. And if it's anything else, I think it's an F.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to go. It's a 1 QB league. It's an obviously great player in an obviously good situation.
I think he's the clear 101 in Superflex too.
I haven't seen any rookie mocks where he's not the 101, because you're not taking Cam Ward from a talent standpoint. I mean, I did another dynasty draft last week. I had picked 2, and I took Cam Ward because I'm a QB needy team. However, there's no way if I was picking 1-1 even as a QB needy team, I'm not passing on Genty. So
Right.
it's just the obviously correct pick, and it's an A, obviously. So let's go to the next pick here.
Draft for talent, trade for need.
I think that's a good philosophy for the most part. I mean, there's definite times where you might need to dip into the bucket for a need or here, but like, when you're picking this high in the draft, you really don't want to be picking for need. So let's go to 1-2. I picked Omarion Hampton, Los Angeles Chargers running back from North Carolina. This is a bit telegraphed. I've been kind of saying this for months, how much I liked him as a player, and then he lands in the first round to a team that loves to run the ball, who's not a zone team, who likes to run it straight down your throat. This is exactly the right landing spot. If Hampton had landed with a zone team, I might have been a little bit more concerned and maybe considered Hunter a little more. But the fact that he got that first round capital, Sean, is the biggest piece of this, because I know he's at least locked in for the 4 years, and he's going to have a 5th-year option available to the team, which for running back seems pretty
it's great,
pretty important these days, where you don't really want to pay these guys. So that's a great way to keep a guy on your team without franchising him. I just feel like this is too good of a fit to pass. But I definitely want to say that I gave Hunter a real thought.
I was there. I tried to talk you into it.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. The thing is, you didn't have to talk me into it from a talent standpoint. The talent, I still think he was the best player in this draft class. I think it was basically him, Carter, and Genty as the top 3. So to me, like, I still think Hunter's going to be excellent, and I would love to have him on my team. But Hampton, from my team standpoint, the needs I had at running back this past year, as soon as McCaffrey had his injury, my season was basically over because of the lack of depth on my team. So you can see with all the green on this chart, I'm really trying to flood the position to give myself some lottery tickets here at the end of the draft as well, that you'll see. But Hampton is definitely the centerpiece of my draft, and really I'm banking on him to do great things here in year 1. I think he'll at least split with Harris for the first few games, maybe half of the season, something like that. But that's fine. I don't want him carrying the ball 30 times a game as a rookie. I feel like a lot of these running backs do need a little time to kind of get the NFL speed. And for Hampton, he's such a pinball that I would like to see him maybe take a little bit less contact than he did in college. He seemed to find contact in college, and I think if you start doing the same things against the Baltimore Ravens instead of Jacksonville State or something, you might run into more injury issues. So I would not be upset if Harris took a chunk of the carries in year 1, but I'm really looking forward to watching him play.
I will say, I think he's immediately a better pass protector than Najee Harris. So he might just end up winning the snap share outright to start the year. Maybe not carries right away. That might be split, but like,
he can block a little.
4-minute offense, he's probably going to be out there.
What was interesting is I was in the drive-thru line at Pollo Tropical, of all places, one of my favorite places in Florida that I can't get out here. And I was in line and I was listening to the press conference that Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz were saying after that first round pick, just to kind of hear what their initial thoughts on him were. And the first thing that Harbaugh talked about is how much they're going to use him as a pass catcher, like how excited they are for his receiving ability, which, like, I know he can do it, but it was never my first thought when I think about Omarion Hampton is like, oh, how good his pass pro is. So it seems like they have a really good plan for using him on third downs early on at the very least. So even if Harris is getting, first, second down work, like I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a very solid role for Hampton in year 1 here. So I'm just looking forward to it overall, to watching him play, because I think he's not only does he fit the scheme, he's going to look great in the uniform. I hope he's wearing 28 again. Hopefully, I think J.K. Dobbins was like 27 when he was there, so I'm hoping that's not a taken number from somebody else, but maybe Kamani Vidal has it right now, but I'll buy it off of him. I'll personally buy it off him so he can wear 28. All right, let's get to the grade on this. I think I've done enough Hampton talk already. Just on what I think
he's wearing
about him.
number 8.
God, Sean, don't tell me these things.
I'm
You're telling me that Genty's wearing 2, Matt Golden's wearing 22, and Hampton's going to wear 8? I mean, this is disgusting.
yeah. That's
What
what
the
I
hell's
would say.
Hunter wearing? How did you find these? Like, is this
Well,
out
it's
there?
just on Sleeper. It's on there.
Oh, it
You can,
shows them already?
yeah, you can.
Let me
It might
click
not
again.
have. It might not have all of them. Like Judkins didn't have
It
a
does
number.
show 8. That's disgusting, Sean. Oh, man, I should have took Hunter after all.
Oh, just wait until you see Tets. Jesus.
I mean, he was 4 in college, so
Yeah, he's
I
gonna be
assume he's
4.
doing the same. Like, that's not that big a deal to me. Why
That's
can't I click the
that's not
player
football
card? Oh, it's
number.
because I have to click Alex's or Tibbs' name. This is this tear. There it is. Hunter. Okay, Hunter's wearing 12. That's perfect. That's a great receiver number. All right. Anywho, let's get to our third selection. Do you want to grade this, Sean, real quick? I mean, I hate to grade myself, but I do feel like this is at least a
I
B
mean,
plus.
it's what I would have done at 102. So, I mean, it's an A for me.
Yeah, I mean, like he's just. I feel like if you look at all the 1 QB mocks that are out there, it's pretty much Genty, Hampton, and then maybe a Travis Hunter sprinkled in. Like that's kind of what you get at
I
1-2.
I would definitely hear an argument for the 2 receivers, but I would go Hampton.
I mean, the first round capital at a running back is just pretty rare. So I just feel like that's the deciding factor for most people, probably. Third pick overall, Quinshawn Judkins goes in the second round to the Cleveland Browns. The Lambs made him the third overall selection here, Sean. Judkins, obviously, it's a great situation for early carries. They don't have anything at this running back position. Chubb's not coming back, it seems like. They did draft Dylan Sampson in the 4th, but I don't think from an initial standpoint, if you're looking for a workhorse back, he was kind of an obvious pick, I think, for the 3rd or 4th running back slot off the board. So what are your thoughts on Judkins?
I was lower on Judkins coming into the draft than
I was too. I will
obviously
say
James
that.
was. Like I had him as my RB, not a lot lower. I had him as my RB5. I liked Henderson and I liked Caleb Johnson over him. Personal preference, but
see, I had a Judkins. I'm sorry, I had a Henderson, Judkins, Johnson.
yeah,
It was a little bit different.
I think, yeah, I just like Caleb Johnson. I think his ceiling is higher in the NFL to me. But I mean, it's not. I mean, the opportunity is going to be there. They're going to run the shit out of the ball in Cleveland because they don't have a quarterback.
They don't. They have to, Sean. They literally have to.
Yeah, I do worry about like he might be a game script more dependent running back than maybe a couple of the other guys out here. So that worries me a little bit, especially since this team is just not going to be ahead in a lot of games this year coming up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But he's really good. I mean, this class is very, very good.
It's hard to find.
It almost
negatives.
feels like splitting hairs a little bit sometimes. But I mean, personal preference for me, I probably would have gone. I think he would have been closer to like 6 overall for me, maybe 7. But
yeah, I can't remember where I had him on my board. And another piece of this too is I would imagine that James feels pretty strongly about Travis Hunter as a player, but he already has BTJ on the team.
Sure.
So like to me, like if he didn't have BTJ already, he might have considered Hunter a little bit more. But James also loves a good workhorse back like the rest of us. And to me, one of the things I kept coming back to, especially with my late round picks and whatnot, is this is a draft that's so loaded with RB talent. You just want running backs. Like take the strength of the class and let's see what happens. I mean, obviously, like a guy like Hunter is a bit of
We're gonna have this exact conversation in a few picks. Don't you worry.
Okay, beautiful. Maybe we'll get to it then. But so like I like Judkins as a player. I didn't feel like I loved Judkins as a player though. I like him. If as a prospect, like he would have been, like a B plus type player for me. I wasn't on the A bandwagon in terms of talent, because I did feel like there were times where I was left wanting a little bit more from him. For such a big back, and he got so much, media hype as this big explosive back. I didn't feel the explosiveness on a carry-to-carry basis as much as I would have liked to seen. But he was fine. Like he's a classic. Like if you want a guy that's going to be in the league for 6 years and have no issues giving you 18 to 25 carries a game, Maybe not a ton in the receiving game, but just a good, solid foundational back. Like, sure,
Yeah,
Judkins is the perfect fit.
given the split he had at Ohio State last year, he had receiving production, but like just watching him, it was never like anything that blew me away. It's more like just kind of dump it to him and make a man miss. So he's
Yeah,
not going to
he's
be.
just
It's not
rock
dynamic
solid.
or anything. Yeah,
I mean, and it's tough because when you compare him to Henderson,
right.
who's in the
Like, why
same
would you be
backfield, you
using?
see him.
Yeah, why would you be using one when you've got Henderson that you can use in that role? And that
Yeah,
makes
there's
sense.
absolutely no reason to put Judkins on the field when you need a swing pass. Like it's just
Yeah,
it was a bit of an embarrassment of riches there. So I mean, I think truly like his best role in the NFL is in a similar role that he was at Ohio State. Frankly, like if he can get like, and that's I think with
agreed.
the Sampson pick a little bit later in the draft for the Browns, I really did like that pick for them because that is kind of what they're setting up for with Cleveland. They have two very competent backs. Both of them offer a little bit different of stylistic types of offense to you. So, like to me, I thought it was a really well done draft by the Browns to get both players. And frankly, Judkins, I mean, he could carry the whole load, but if you would like to keep him fresh, he's still very young.
It,
He doesn't have a lot of wear on the tires.
it wouldn't have surprised me if that was the plan, and then they just had Samson so high on their board that they're like, well, I mean, like, we got to take like we take
That's
the best player
exactly what
available.
happened. I'm sure. Like, there's no reason when the draft class is this deep and you're in the fourth round and you're already looking at your board. You're like, okay, we had this guy as a high third or something like that, which they might have. You just take
And
the guy.
that's something that really like goes to this whole draft in general. It's raining.
Hmm.
Is like all of these backs are so talented and they just kept getting pushed down because like everybody's like, whoa, we have
We can just
5
wait.
guys that we like here, and
Yeah.
it really turns the whole like, well, their draft capital. I need to draft them higher in my rookie draft because of their draft capital. I'm like, I don't really care as much about that this year,
I
if
think
I'm
this is
being
the one
honest.
year that you can kind of throw it away a little bit because
I mean, there's the
I
flavor,
probably listened to
but
5 or 6 of these press conferences after the draft with the different GMs, and all of them said the same thing. They were like, "Oh, like teams like the Bears that took Monongai in the 7th, or like Taj Brooks to Cincy in the 6th. Like these are guys in other years that would have gone higher, 4th, 5th round, as opposed to this year where everybody knew that they could just kind of wait, so they all got pushed down as a result. So like this is
right.
not a to me this is not a year where you have to look at like, oh, the 5th round pick, like he's got a higher capital than a 7th or something like that. So it should be a very interesting class to watch develop over the next couple of years to see like which guys do end up sticking around and how much that capital actually means to the NFL teams. But to me, like there's no indication, or there's no correlation, I should say, between the RB talent this year and where they were drafted. I feel like that it's a very open for discussion type of situation this year. So all that to be said, I do like Judkins. I like the pick. If it were me in the 3rd slot and I didn't have Brian Thomas Jr., I would have taken Hunter for sure. But in this situation for James, I know he liked the player. He needs a running back. He's a very young running back, which fits his timeline. I have a hard time ranking this anything other than like at the very least an A minus, maybe just like an A minus.
Yeah, I'll go B plus on it. Like I said, there's a few players that I probably would have picked there, but you flip this pick and his next pick, and I don't really have. For me personally, it really wouldn't bother me. So it's all going to come out in the wash.
Sure.
So it is what it is. Like Henderson's going to be like an A plus when we get to it. So
Yeah.
spoilers.
Yeah. Big spoiler there. All right. Let's get to the next pick, which was Tibbs with Travis Hunter at 1.4 going to the Chili Cheese Fries. The Jacksonville Jaguars traded up to get Travis Hunter with the Browns. I love the aggressive play from the Jags. Frankly, I kind of love that. New GM come in, F them picks. Let's just get the generational player. We've talked a lot about Hunter on the podcast already, but the guy's awesome. I love him. I think he's such a cool personality
So
too.
likable. It's
He
insane.
just likes fishing, Sean. He just likes to go fishing.
Fishing
So
and
like
ball,
he
baby.
loves fishing and football. So like he's just a likable guy. I think he ends up in a very good spot for him where if you watched any Bucks football last year, which a lot of y'all did out there, the amount of jet sweeps, motions, short, shallow crosses, this is going to be a phenomenal spot for Travis Hunter to get touches right away, even though he's not the number one guy.
When
He's
when Godwin got hurt last year, he was the leader in the NFL at the receiver position in Yak.
yeah,
Which Godwin is not a player. I love Godwin. He's not a player that I think to myself, yep, Yak King.
no,
Can you
not at
imagine
all.
those plays going to Travis Hunter?
I
Holy
mean,
shit.
I got to be honest with you, Sean. I didn't feel like Yak was like one of his like strongest suits in college
He's
because
so fluid with the ball,
but
though.
but the guy just moves different. So like I'm sure that'll come. I mean, he's so young. He barely's played receiver, frankly. So I
Yeah.
mean, like he's gonna get better at that. But I mean, he's just like you said, a special mover. And there's no doubt in my mind that Liam Cohen. I mean, we watched enough of Liam Cohen last year to figure out that he's gonna find a way to make some creative ass packages. They're gonna have Travis Etienne and like Bashal Tutin and Travis Hunter in the backfield at the same time or some crazy shit. Like there's gonna be tons of usage for him. And then Brian Thomas will be more of that, traditional wide receiver in the Mike Evans role, I think. So I just think this is a great landing spot for him. And he's got to be the player I'm most excited to watch out of any of these.
Oh, no
rookies.
doubt. Yeah. Only concern is looking back, like I was telling you, I've done a lot of like backwards research on like receivers over the last like 10 years coming into the draft and stuff. No receiver that's sub 195 except for one outlier has been a top 5 receiver over like the last 10 years. And that was Tyreek Hill. And
I say
I
Tyreek.
don't consider him skinny or like
Now, he's just
thick.
like he's a thick boy. Like out of all the body types that I see in the NFL, like his is very similar to a Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
And he's made it work pretty well. So
No doubt. He's amazing. But
I'm
he's
just
also
worried.
a very crisp, polished route runner. And Hunter can be. He just hasn't had the time to develop that because of playing both ways. But
I have an interest in Googling who the wide receiver coach is there. Jacksonville.
Not sure.
Jaguars. Because if it's a good one, we're going to be in trouble. The league is in trouble. Jaguars coaches roster. Let's see. Wide receivers coach is Edgar Bennett.
No idea who that is.
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
He's probably like 25. And then
he enters Jacksonville. He's 21st season coach in the NFL. Jesus.
Oh, wow.
He must have been.
You got to be the old head on that team.
So he was the Raiders receiver coach this past year. Raiders receiver coach for the last 3 or 4 years, actually.
Right.
So he's been around. Let me see. I actually want to do just one more little research on this too, because this is the thing like that kind of goes under the radar, I think, with a lot of these situations, these landing spots. You got to look at especially the developmental guys. This is an important. So this guy, Edgar Bennett, was the Packers offensive coordinator in 2015. Who knew?
Wow.
So yeah, he's just been a rock solid receivers coach over the last.
They develop receivers there pretty well.
Yep, Packers running back coach. Then he was receivers coach. Then he was an OC. Then he was the Raiders wide receivers coach for 6 years, up until this past year, and then now he is the receivers coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, so interesting. So yeah, I feel like Hunter is he's just so good, Sean. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And frankly, we could be looking at this pick at 1-4 in a couple of years saying like, wow, why didn't he go higher? Just because the talent level.
I mean, he's right there with those guys from last year to me, like talent-wise.
Yeah, where would you rank him above Neighbors or Harrison?
I think he would have been 4th, especially given like the split of playing both. But I mean, like
I think you could have argued him over Rome just from a pure athleticism standpoint.
Yeah, Rome was my number.
I know you like Rome, yeah.
So
I mean, obviously I like Rome too. So
for me, but I mean, like probably ahead of BTJ, which now sounds crazy, but like coming out, like nobody was expecting that. So
yeah, I mean, BTJ was not like he was not a surefire thing coming out. Like he was kind of big, fast, can run a limited route tree, but like he's just clearly just a different type of athlete that we haven't really seen in a while. So that seemed to work out pretty well.
He got skinny fast and runs a limited route tree. It's great.
Yeah, I mean they just have all the body types. They got a zillion running backs now. Should be a fun team to watch, man. I mean, as much as
Yeah.
I'm kind of a Liam Cohen hater these days, like, I mean, the guy ran a pretty fun offense last year, so it should be very exciting
Mhm.
at the very least. All right, let's give a grade for this. I'm going to give this an A,
A.
maybe even an A plus, honestly, because
Yeah.
I just love the player so much, and the
Keeping this
value here
technical
at 4
player
is
on
so
board.
good.
Yeah.
Value is great.
But
I mean, all right, let's go to the next pick. We got another Dustin Gilchrist selection here at 1-5. We have Tet McMillan, who was drafted 8th overall by the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that the Panthers picked him at 8. I kind of had a gut feeling that whole last month before the draft that, like, oh, it's just going to be a defensive pick. And I do think it was, like, as much as I didn't love Tet at the 8th spot, like, they're all in on Bryce Young. Like, this is the guy. We gotta make sure this guy is good, because
yeah,
if not,
yeah,
we're
he can't
totally
fail.
screwed.
Yeah.
He so, like, I like the idea of just flooding him with receiver talent, running back talent. Just give him whatever you can, and if he stinks, at the very least, you tried your best. So, like, I kind of don't hate the pick for even at 1-8, I still don't hate it.
Yeah. It makes sense. Also, they crushed day 2 to me. Like I thought they did
Panthers had
really
a really nice draft.
Yeah.
Really nice draft,
Yeah,
which
I
I hate
agree.
as a Bucks fan, but it's
Yeah.
okay because the Falcons made up for that. So McMillan here at 8, like, I mean, 5 to the Kentucky Elk. I thought this was a really good pick. I mean, like, this is just like a solid receiving prospect overall. I mean, we didn't love him, kind of throughout the process. At least me and you didn't. I had him a little bit lower on my actual NFL board, closer
Yeah,
to 20.
when you compare it to consensus boards, both of us were lower. Like I still think he's good. Like he's worthy of being
He
like
was a
an
mid
overall
first
pick
round
here.
pick to me. Yeah,
Yeah, I
like,
think
nothing special, but good.
people were putting him on a spectrum of Drake London to Mike Evans, which I think
I didn't see either of those. I did not see
he's
either.
on the Pittman to Sutton range for me.
Yeah, like, to me, his absolute rock bottom floor is Michael Pittman. Like, I just, if he's worse than Pittman, I would be shocked. But he's that type of player where it's a lot of in-breaking routes, using your size to box out. Like, that's his game, and he is athletic enough. I think he's more athletic than Michael Pittman was. So
Yeah.
I think there's a real shot that he could be a very, very good 1A, 1B receiver in the NFL.
And in defense of him, like after the catch, I actually think he's got a little more than like
He's
London.
got a lot after the catch.
Yeah.
He's got juice. He's got real
He's
juice.
a very different prospect to Drake London. He's just 6'4", 6'5", so you comp him to the guys that have been successful at that height. So
Yeah, I mean, people kind of forget that Mike Evans is doing all of what he's doing at almost 240 pounds. He
yeah,
is
he's
literally
an
25 pounds
outlier.
heavier. Like, this is not like Mike. There's all these lazy Mike Evans comps. Like, I don't know anybody like him other than basically Vincent Jackson. Like, there wasn't a lot of players his size that could run the way he does. So he is truly like a bit of a unicorn these days.
Comparing players to borderline outlier or outlier players is just never a good idea.
I mean, he's literally, I'm looking at the list. He's literally Oronde Gadsden's size, but he runs way better than Oronde Gadsden.
Hey, we're going to get to him.
Yeah,
don't you worry.
We will get to 6'3".
2 hours from now,
It's gonna be a long time, but we will absolutely. This is a megapod. We promised the megapod. You're gonna get the megapod. Yeah. So I like I said, like, McMillan was not like he definitely wasn't my favorite receiver this year. I definitely like Hunter better. He was my number 2 receiver at the end of everything, just because I think the upside is very high. I think if he can get in a room with Adam Thielen and learn, a little bit of things and try to get his press package beat better, which, frankly, if Adam Thielen is still there, that's the perfect guy to learn how to beat press from. I think that is a great spot for him to be. I don't think it's absolutely necessary that he's the number 1 right away. I think they have enough other guys on that team to spread it around to. I think Coker played pretty well last year. Legette's going to be involved. They have depth guys. Like, he's not going to be like, oh, we need you to step in and be Mike Evans right away. Like, I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember who has Legette on their team. It might be Dustin. I don't remember.
I think it is Dustin.
But Legette looks a lot better now to me because he doesn't have to play outside.
Yeah, that guy's a slot player.
Yeah,
get him in the slot.
He's a ball in the hand and go kind of guy. You scheme him up, you get him crossers mesh.
He's like a giant Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he should be. That's the role that he should be used in, at least. Whether they do it or not, it's a whole nother bag of worms. But
Mhm.
yeah, so here at 1.5, the value seems pretty good. You're going to get like a quality receiver prospect with upside to be, a really highly thought of receiver in dynasties. He's very young. He's got all kinds of upside, I think, in terms of like his ceilings. I feel like he's got a pretty high ceiling, and his floor is pretty high as well. So I I, I don't think you're going to be looking at a Laquan Treadwell or anything here. I think you're just gonna you might
Mm-mm.
be you might be a little bit down in terms of maybe he doesn't quite get to 1.5 level production, but he does feel like a safe player to me.
Yeah, I mean it's a solid A minus for me. This
Yeah, I
draft.
mean, if he was taken, let's say Tet was picked at 3 or something in this draft, I wouldn't have graded it an A.
Nice.
But at 1.5, I definitely think I'll give it a B plus just because I'm not like 1,000 in love. I don't love the player. Like I like a couple of these other guys coming up here, specifically the next one, which is Travion Henderson to James here at 1.6. I love this pick, Sean.
Same.
I really love Travion Henderson. I actually had him as my third back in this class, right behind Hampton and Genty. And frankly, I didn't think the gap between him and Hampton was all that big. They're just two different types of runners. I
Mhm.
just think Henderson is such an NFL ready player. Like this guy is going to come in, team captain. Vrabel's going to love him. I don't think it's going to take very long for him to get a huge chunk of touches in that backfield. He's going to be Drake May's best friend with his pass protection. He is so good that I really would have taken him probably a 1.3 or 1.4 in this draft. So to get him at 1.6 after you already got Judkins at 1.3 is an excellent haul for James, who needed to rebuild this running back room, frankly, after some of the trades he made the past couple of years. I think he's done a phenomenal job just getting basically those two starters right here at the top of the draft, and once again taking advantage of this deep running back class where you can get a really, really good running back, the fourth running back off the board at 1.6. That's really good stuff.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, talking about it earlier, like this is an A plus pick for me. I think it's the best player on the
Yeah,
board.
I'm not going to rate it anything other than A plus,
It's,
just because I love the player and I love the value.
I mean, he's the best pass pro in this class. He's a good runner. He's a good receiver. He is going to a scheme that is just ideal
Perfect.
for him. I mean,
Perfect.
McDaniels is he uses the running back so well in his offense. He's a terrible head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. So
And I think he can run better in between the tackles than people give him credit for. Everybody's got him as this Jahmyr Gibbs, satellite back, can't do anything between the tackles. Like Gibbs kind of was thought about the same way when he came out. Everybody's like, always just kind of like lightning, shot out of a cannon kind of players. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is really good in between the tackles too. Like
yes.
I don't think he's quite as good as Jahmyr Gibbs was coming out, but he's not that far off, man. Like he's a really good prospect. And I thought he was deserving of being a first round NFL player because I truly thought he wasn't that far behind Hampton. Hampton is just a very different type of back, but I love
Mhm.
Henderson so much. We can stop glazing him now. But yeah, he's great pick here. 1.6. I give it an A plus for sure. Let's go to 1.7. We have Matt Golden, Green Bay Packers receiver, who was taken, I believe, at 22 or something like that in the NFL draft. Sean, what do you think about Golden?
I like Golden. I like him a lot more with the landing spot that he got. Um, I this is the conversation I was talking about earlier where we talked about just exploit the strength of the class when your team is so much in desperate need of a wide receiver and it
Yeah.
makes it a hard thing to commit to. But I mean, he did it. We'll see how it goes. I'm skeptical, but like sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I don't know. But for Golden in particular, he is probably the best just downfield receiver in this class. He's very good at winning downfield. He's pretty below average at winning quick off the line. So he's not going to be a guy that just gets a ton of targets to me in the NFL. He's going to be more in that I'm not calling him Gabe Davis, but he's going to be boom or bust. I think it's going to feel like. But he's a guy that to me just feels like a nice flex start every week. And at 107, that's in this class,
It's a
that's good
starter. It's a
overall. Yeah,
starter.
yeah.
And it's funny
Thanks.
that you mentioned that too, because I like from a I'm not saying he plays like this, but from a production standpoint, I could see him being a very Zay Flowers-y kind of guy, where you're at 1 week you might be getting a big boom week,
Yeah.
can win down the field, but then other weeks it's like, oh man, I only got 42 yards or something like that. Like I could absolutely see that being Golden's future here, and it's funny that you mentioned that, like how bad the need of the Packers was at receiver, because like heading into last year, everybody was like, oh, like this is a completely stacked receiving room, and they have 4 number 1 receivers, and like it was kind of a wild time. But it's
He had 4 number 3 receivers.
yeah, that's what it turned
As it
into.
turns out.
Yeah. But like Dobbs, was complaining because he wasn't getting targets or was demoted to the whatever team, and Christian Watson can't ever stay healthy. So it's definitely turned into something completely different. But I don't think that they have a player like Golden on this team. I don't think they have had one for a long time, where a guy that really strides or really does well in the middle portion of the field, but then also, like you mentioned, he's a huge deep threat with the 4.29
deep
speed.
crossers all day.
This is just not like a Packers usual pick. Like this is just not like the big Alan Lazard, Jordy Nelson, James Jones, like all these guys we've watched for the last like 20 years. Like this is such a different type of player. I don't know. I think this is a tough selection to be at. If you're Vince,
Yes, this is a
like
drop-off.
The drop off was truly at 1.6 for me. I think you could have argued Ekbuka here, but for Vince, he needs somebody to play now.
I would not have made that argument. Good luck with that.
I don't know. I think Ekbuka is just a really, really solid player, but maybe for fantasy, not as much as Golden maybe here, but it's just a tough spot for Vince to be in at 1.7. I mean, obviously, I think he would have loved to have Tet make it down to him here at 7, but obviously, I think a lot of people just kind of realized the 1.8 capital was really strong for Tet, so he was unlikely he was ever going to make it here anyway. So to get a starting potential receiver here, first round draft capital at 1.7, really good value, I think, especially with what's left on the board and his team needs. It just kind of really makes sense for me. So
and
I think
I'm throwing out like just like the realism of like what I see and like what I've watched, but like his range of outcomes, like I see a Stephon Diggs like style career in there too. So
yeah, and that's a really good comp. I think we mentioned that on the podcast at another point. Like he's not like a giant, size wise guy. He's very athletic, and I think he's a much better route runner than Stephon Diggs was coming out of the draft, because when Stephon Diggs came out, he was a 5th round pick, and he was more of like he was kind of in the same boat as Tyreek Hill when they both came out. They were more like kick returnery, very athletic, but we don't know how to do anything kind of guys. And then they just found their way. Whereas Golden is a little bit more ready to go. And
Golden returned kicks at Texas last year too.
There you go. So there's another parallel there. But Golden, we should mention, was his production profile was absolutely shattered by Quinn Ewers. I mean, it was just ruined.
That is, I cannot be understated how bad Quinn Ewers was outside of the hashes.
I literally, the fact that he was nowhere near my board in anything. No. I mean, I know he got picked 7-4 here, but I would not have even remotely considered him.
I don't think he's an NFL quarterback.
There's no way he's better. I think there's no way he's better than Zach Wilson. Like he's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play and if he did play, especially behind the Dolphins offensive line, he would die, because I don't think it's going to work. I just don't think it's going to work at all. So the one guy for the Dolphins, funny to mention that, which actually, let's wait on that. Keep moving here. Matt Golden, 1.7. I feel like I would give this, I feel like I can't really give it anything other than an A, just because the value's right. This is the only pick I think I would have made here if I'm Vince in his spot.
That's fair. Going back to the draft talent, trade for need, like I would give it a B+. I don't think it's bad pick by any means, but like there's a couple running backs they go after here that I probably would have preferred.
Yeah, and like I just from a team construction standpoint, Vince is very deep at running back. We've said on this podcast how much he needs a receiver. There's no reason not to take the swing, I think, here. So I like the pick for Vince. We're going to go to another Dustin selection here at 1.8 which is Emeka Ekbuga, a big surprise of the first round. I'll say
We're gonna
that.
fight on this one. I can feel it.
Yeah, it's like the more I think about Ikbuga, like and that pick in general, and listening to Jason Light talk about it, I'm not as opposed to it as I originally was. I think like when we were all at James watching the draft, we're all just so shocked by the fact that they took a receiver when that was just not really on anybody's radar. And the
It
one
came
that
in pretty
was
high.
on our radar was Matt Golden because he came in for a visit. So it's like it was truly an off the radar pick to pick a guy like Ikbuga who doesn't really offer any sort of a different type of receiver for this offense. Is basically like a Godwin clone, if you will. So to me, it was a
Three
very
slot receivers on this team. Good slot
yeah,
receivers.
you could really say that at this point. So it's very strange selection just from an NFL position standpoint. But the more I thought about it for fantasy, as much as I like the player and I think he'll be a very good NFL player, I don't know if Ekbuka is ever really going to be a superstar fantasy asset. I think he could just be like a really, really rock solid 1,100 year kind of guy with limited touchdowns. The guy that I kept coming back to was like early career Terry McLaurin, like those kind of numbers where it was like a lot of yards, but maybe not a lot of touchdowns. And frankly, Sean, you're going to have to wait a little bit to see that production. So, for a team like Dustin, maybe he can afford to wait a little bit. I just kind of liked a couple of these other running backs a little bit better in this spot. So I don't know if I would have taken him here at 1-8 personally. How do you feel?
I just don't like. I liked Igbuka as like a late round one talent at receiver,
Okay.
just to get that like in there. Like I don't dislike Igbuka. I just don't. I don't see like I don't see the path like this year at all.
No, this year I
And
I agree. Yeah,
I I really think that Dustin could make the playoffs this year with the running backs he's added to his team. Like
I mean the
things
team
got to
got
go,
better.
things got to go right. But his receivers are good. His quarterbacks, I think, are pretty solid too. So
Yeah,
like I don't know. I think a couple different players here would have made a lot more sense to me, and maybe a little more harshly so compared to the last pick, just because I think Golden's going to produce in year one. So he's got so many first round picks in the future still too. So I guess it's really not that big of a deal if he's just continuing to put the team together. But I just don't see you getting much production from Igbuka this year. So I mean I gotta go like C plus on this pick.
interesting. Yeah, and I feel like really the only true route to initial great production is if there is a linger to Godwin's injury from last year. If he's maybe not 100% to start the year, even then I still feel like McMillan is the guy that's kind of already in the fold, and he would probably be the first one up in terms of maybe taking some of those initial snaps because learning receiver in the NFL is hard. It's really hard to make an initial impact, especially in week 1, week 2, week 3 as a rookie. Um, I mean, Ekbuka at every point in his career at Ohio State, there was always somebody above him, and I think it's going to continue to be that way in the NFL. I don't know if he's
It's not
ever truly
that's
going
not
to
the
be a
worst thing. It's just
absolutely not. No,
I mean T Higgins is always a top 20 drafted receiver like over the last
sure.
3 seasons, two
The
seasons.
positive here is that there's really, really good historical trends for receivers taken by the Bucks. I mean, recently, I mean, if you're a Godwin, if you're a McMillan, like they've shown that they can feed the offense. The offense does usually go through a running back and the receivers as opposed to tight ends. So I feel like long term, this is just going to be a rock solid pick. But like you said, the year one production leaves a little to be desired. And I also think too for Dustin to take a guy like this with maybe some lasting value as opposed to maybe a running back that maybe doesn't quite last as long in terms of dynasty value. This is a very tradable player as well. I feel like if you really wanted to include him on a trade to get something that you actually need or somebody with more immediate production, you could use him as an asset as well.
Yeah, it's fair. And last thing is like his high end comp one of those is Godwin, and you signed Godwin to 3-year extension.
Yes, 3 years, man. Yeah.
So like you tell me you're not going to be able to maximize his play style for until year 4 when you have to decide if you even want the 5th-year option. Like
It could just be
just
this offense just runs through 3 receivers, man. Like it's possible. I mean,
and even so, but what I'm saying is like deploying him the best way to do that would be the same way you would deploy Chris Godwin. You can't
yeah,
do that.
I hear you. I hear you. It does make sense. Um, yeah, like I just really like the player. That's the hard part about this is like, and
Same.
I think we all said this on draft night. Like I don't think you would find one player or one person that would be like, oh yeah, I hate Emeka Egbuka. Like it's just not. He's not a hateable player. He's just so solid. Like he's a solid ass player. So that's making this grade a little tough for me. I think I would give it a B just overall. I'll just give it a B because I like the player. And I think when you look at what's left on the board, unless you're taking one of these running backs, like I would not have taken Burden or Higgins over Ekbuga still, despite the draft capital. So you're talking about a first round receiver here too. Like it's really tough to get away from the first round capital. And if you just look at historical trends on receivers and running backs that were taken in the first round, their hit rates are much higher. It's just that simple. So if you're trying to find a safe player, a first round draft capital receiver, running back is probably your best bet. So I definitely understand it here for our friend Dustin. So let's go to our next pick. And this is where things get very fun with Alex Morales, the GM of the Muskegon Muskrats, taking Luther Burden at 1-9 after a huge trade with Tibbs involving Puka Nakua. I believe it's Puka 1929 and something else. I forgot 39. I don't know. It was three picks, I think. Probably should look this up because it's an important trade.
I got you.
I was gonna say I can look it up real quick. But yeah, this was a huge trade. I didn't see this one coming at all, Sean. I don't know about you.
It's a fire sale, baby.
It is. God, I need to get that in this system here. I wonder if I could show home. How do I wait a second? We got to stop everything. This is a mega pod. I promised the mega podcast we're gonna get the song up. It's time. I haven't been able to get it on the damn on the Discord page because it's too big of a file size. So I'm gonna find this video right now, and we're gonna watch the fire sale video on the podcast, and it's gonna be great because this is the time for it. This is what we waited for all this time.
1929 and 49 for Puka Nakua.
1929. When I hear it again, it's just not enough. It's just not enough return.
It's not enough.
And it's funny. I was watching a video earlier.
He's a 2 first plus kind of player at this point. I don't.
Like I watched a video earlier that was a rankings video for franchise or dynasty cornerstone players, and he was number 3. Like, which I don't agree with the 3 maybe, but
That's
like
high. He was
in the S tier of like cornerstone players, and the fact that he went for 19, 29, and 49 is just not it, Sean, for me at least. I mean, I think there could have been a bigger return if he had shopped it around a little more. I think he was just desperate to get a first round pick, which you can say what you will about that, I guess, but
he could have waited until after the draft. I would have traded him my 2028 first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I would have given him a lot more than 1929 and 49, I think. So that's the hard part here is I feel like let me see if I can share the audio for this screen here so we can watch the video.
Right, it feels similar to like the Luka trade, where like I wish I would have known he was on the market.
It's like I'm sure like if the Oklahoma City Thunder knew he was available for like 1 first, like, I'm sure they would have been like running to the podium, right? So
that's a guy that gets a bidding war started. Like I don't know.
I don't get it. All right, here we go. Can you hear this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, here we go. What a classic. Uh-oh, it stopped. It stopped. Why did it stop? Keep playing it. Oh, is this the wrong file? It's the wrong file. We got to get the right file. There's a second one.
The files are in the computer.
Yeah, it's the wrong file here. Hold on, we got to bring up the right one. Here it is.
No sound. Can't hear it on this end, bud.
What a classic. I gotta get this up on YouTube. I'll put it on the channel soon.
That didn't play, by the way, sound wise.
Oh, that hurts so bad.
So we watched you watching it. It was great.
All right, so it's like one of those shitty reaction videos. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's exciting. I'm glad you guys didn't get to watch it. I'll put it up on YouTube. It's an easy ad. So yeah, I feel like there's so many uses for it, but now especially, it just has to be involved.
It's all coming together.
It has to. All right, let me reshare this screen. So anywho, Sean, this pick, I didn't even like the pick. I just didn't like the pick. I thought it was not the right player in the right slot.
I think he took the most talented receiver left on the board.
Talent-wise, yes. For receivers, yes. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
I probably would have gone with the running back there and chose to trade them and probably get more value after that if you didn't want running back straight away, but I get it.
I think the challenge here, Sean, is I would imagine that I feel like there's some people that probably still feel very strongly about Luther Burden, where it's, if you came into last year and coming off the 2023 year where he was so good, there's probably a little bit of hangover in terms of, I still feel like this. I feel this strongly about this player. I just couldn't take him with the first, knowing the situation. He's going into an offense with, quite frankly, a lot of mouths to feed at this point. You got DJ Moore, Colston Loveland.
Wasn't the first pass catcher drafted in this draft.
Correct. Was not the prime time pass catcher that Colston Loveland was at 10. And to me, Loveland is just a souped up tight end playing receiver essentially at this point. So it's going to be a very interesting offense. Now, that being said, I think I trust Ben Johnson to make something work for this offense almost more than anybody at this point. So I just think it's going to be hard to predict this offense next year on who gets the plays, who's, eaten on week to week, kind of just like how the Lions were last year. Like there were definitely times where there was, your big Jameson Williams weeks, and then there's a big Laporta week, and then there was a big Monroe. It's like it's a very tough offense to predict.
I don't think I've heard this point said by anybody that I've listened to, but as it stands right now, they have a lot of work to do in their running back room.
They sure do.
But as it stands right now, like I could see him getting snaps in the backfield.
Yeah, like I think in terms of if they want to do like little shotgun sets where he's the running back and they swing him out, like
running routes out of the backfield, like
absolutely, like Texas routes, things like that. Yeah,
he's not Debo. I'm not saying that,
but he offers similar things.
Yeah, he's great with the ball in his hands. And backtracking to 2023, where their offense actually asked him to be a wide receiver, and then their offensive coach leaves, they get a new system, and he basically gets turned into a gadget receiver in 2024, which is why the production just absolutely tanked.
Yeah, I mean, he knows, and you could tell he wasn't interested. Like you can watch the games, and I watched every single touch and target for him, and there were times where he was targeted that he even knew like he was not supposed to get the ball and wasn't really even trying that hard. So like the only thing that I really don't like was the fact that he's going to be a bit of a hard projection. But like from a
receiver like that go at 105 in our draft too. So
yeah, I guess that's true. But I don't know. I like the player. I really thought highly of him, even after all this year of garbage, basically at Missouri. I still thought he was a really good prospect. I thought he should have been a first round NFL pick. I just really don't like this landing spot, Sean. I wish he could have even gone to, like, if he had ended up on the Texans or something like that, I would have felt so good.
Tennessee was the dream for me at the beginning of the second round.
Would have been a really nice spot. A really nice spot. Like, and the fact that he went to one of these kind of just embarrassment of riches weapon type teams is just probably worst case scenario for a situation standpoint. So for that, like I had him ranked at 16 for this draft. I didn't. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit. I have Odunze, so I really didn't want both, but I kept finding guys that I would rather have than Burton when I was making my rankings, and
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think
that.
I had one other receiver that I probably would have taken ahead of him, but it wasn't that far off. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that guy. All right, let's give a grade for this pick, Sean.
I'm I'm gonna give it a B minus just because the talent is worth a first round pick, but
Hmm.
the landing spot does is tough.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a C. I just I there's definitely players I would have rather had here, and like I said, he
No
was
doubt.
16 on my board.
Yep.
I could think of at least 5 guys that I would have picked before this, and I think when you
I,
factor in the trade as well, it
yeah,
just
that hurts.
it's not a good return
I
for
tried to
Puka.
separate those two things, but that's definitely not
I
helpful.
can't do it, Sean. I tried. I tried mentally to do it, and I just couldn't do it. Because when you know what he gave up, it's like, all right, it's the Mike Gesicki thing for me. It's like, yeah, you gave up Mike Gesicki for 2.3, but the 2.3 was George Kittle. So it's like, all right, well, here now it looks way worse. So, I feel like this really could work out if Burden, hits this ceiling. Like, it could be an awesome Debo type player and get a ton of touches over the middle of the field. It could be a really fun time and frankly, a really great fit between him and Caleb Williams. Like both of their styles mesh so well together where it's just find a way to get open on extended plays and things like that. It really could work out well. But I just don't love the value here. So I'm going to give it the C, and then we're going to go to your 110 selection here. You took RJ Harvey from
Go ahead.
UCF. Yeah, it's going to piss off a couple people in this lobby. RJ Harvey, I think a reasonably high second round pick to Denver. A bit of a shocking second round pick, to be honest with you. I did not see that one coming.
I audibled in my parents' living room watching the draft on day 2. I was like, oh!
I mean, I just did not see that happening. I did not think he was going to go higher than Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, that was surprising.
So that was interesting. The whole Broncos draft this year was something like they just don't give a shit about value. I think they just do whatever they want and
Yeah,
they
them and
pick
the
the players
Lions
they want.
yeah, they don't give a shit. I love it.
Which I kind of love. I respect it. You just if you like a guy, you like a guy. And
If
we'll get to
everybody's just
another
going off the same
Broncos.
consensus board, it does get a little boring after a while. So
Yeah, at some point it's nice just to like, hey, plant your flag somewhere. So I'll let you here. Go ahead, talk about your pick here, 110.
I mean, he's a great running back, man. It's a great class. He's just got a great landing spot. I mean, he's got everything. I think he can do everything except for pass pro, and that's fine. Bo Nix can run, so it's all good. He can hit home runs. I think that was one of the things that kind of put me over the top in making this trade because I believe this was part of the Kyron trade. And that's just not something I'm going to get with Kyron. And I think that just kind of limits kind of like the weak winning abilities with Kyron. He's always consistent, but Harvey just he lands in a great spot. I mean, I'll give you we'll do like a nice little pop-up quiz here. Can you name the 3 running backs that Sean Payton has taken with a top 100 pick as a head coach?
Well, I think one is Mark Ingram.
That's correct.
Top 100 pick. That would not have been Kamara, I don't think.
He was.
Okay, so he was he a third?
He was a 3rd round pick.
Okay. Yep. And then
one of them, the other guy was the 2nd overall pick in his draft.
Oh, Reggie Bush.
Wow.
All right, that's pretty good.
I like all 3 of those. Reggie Bush had a lot of injury stuff, but like he was good when he was on the field. So
I mean, he knows talent.
Great. So I know people get like a headache when they talk about a Sean Payton backfield, but like when he actually takes a pick on top 100 pick with these guys, they get used. So
I agree. He's one of those guys that even if there is a split, he's always had like a guy. Like here's your guy who's going to touch the ball, 15 to 20 times a game, and then he'll sprinkle in the Pierre Thomases, and he'll sprinkle in the Latavius Murrays or whatever. Like that's always how he's been. And to take a guy with this high of draft capital, especially after last year taking Estimate with the 5th, it shows that he thinks extremely highly of this player. And there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be on the field.
Did you hear him talking about Harvey post-draft?
That's the one I didn't listen to the Broncos one, though.
That's fair. He was talking about like, well, when we realized that there was just no way we're going to be able to trade up for Genty, which nugget right there, they would have traded up for Genty.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of thought they were one of those teams.
He's like, I had to pivot, and I started watching running backs, and I couldn't turn off this guy's film. Like he just fell in love with him. So,
I mean, if he feels that strongly about it, I mean, to me, after the draft kind of shook out, at least on day 2, it was very apparent to me that RJ Harvey was going to end up in the first round of this draft.
yeah.
He's anytime you get a chance to get a workhorse back, especially one that's taken in the second round by a team that loves to run the ball. I just knew he was going to go high. He and the next pick, Caleb Johnson, were both guys I was really hoping would find a way to 2-2.
It was close for me. It was between those two. I just choose to believe in Sean Payton's offense over whatever happens in Pittsburgh over the next couple of years because just I don't believe in that offense. So
yeah, I mean it's strange because I think even I just expected, and now that we're here at 110, we can kind of talk about it a little bit here. I expected one of the tight ends to go in the first. That was kind of like was like I thought like at least one would find a way into the first, whether it was somebody trading up or something happening. The fact that none of them went in the first kind of threw off my draft plan a little because I was assuming that one of Harvey and Johnson would find a way down into that 2-2 slot. And once Burden went off the board, I'm like, okay, here's my shot. We got Burden off the board, who was 16 on my board, and then I was hoping that one of the other tight ends would go, but they didn't. So I feel like if you look at my board, like these guys, Harvey and Johnson, were both first round picks. To me, highly thought of players. The problem is with me, with Harvey, is I'm definitely not as high on him as you are, I think. So I think he's a solid back, but I didn't view him in the same realm as a Caleb Johnson. I had him lower than Scadaboo pre-draft. I had quite a few backs above him, actually, frankly, heading into the draft. You want to hear a crazy nugget? I had Taj Brooks ahead of him pre-draft, which that's my hot take of the day. You'll hear it a little bit later when we get there, tomorrow, whenever we get to this fourth rounder, but fifth rounder. But I just had a couple other guys ahead of him. And part of it too is like I do factor in age a little bit into these running back spots. I know that most of these running backs never even get to the second contract, so it's not that big a deal. But it's a piece of it for me. So I had Johnson ahead of him personally. So that's my only real gripe. But other than that, he was not far behind Johnson and definitely was in the top 10 of my picks. So I can't really rank this anything worse than a B plus for me, because at least the value is great, and you're getting a guy who could very well massively outproduce the 110 spot when we look on this in a couple of years, where he'd be like, oh, why did he go so late? Because he was a high draft pick. He was in a Sean Payton offense, and you knew he was going to get touches. So I really like the player in this spot. All right, we'll keep.
I'm not grading my own.
Yeah, let's say you don't need to grade your own here, but let's go back to Dustin here at 2-1, talking about Caleb Johnson going to Pittsburgh. I personally really liked Caleb Johnson. He would have been a great fit with the Armadillos with the maturity issues. So we were like, this is too good to be true. We're going to get Caleb Johnson at 2-2. Didn't quite make it to my spot, so I was a little upset. And I actually tried to trade up with, I think, all 4 of the teams that were picking between, I think it was you, all 3, and then you traded up to 10, so I couldn't get that spot. But I really wanted Caleb Johnson. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a really good fit. He has the exact same uniform colors as he did in college. I mean, nice. This is a nice touch. It's a nice touch. And he's like the perfect 1A to Jaylen Warren's 1B. Like, he is a really good spot, good landing spot for him to be in. And I think he has a lot of Najee Harris qualities. There is a lot of Najee Harris in this game.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I do the Spider-Man meme where he's like taking the glasses off and it's like squinty.
Yeah.
Blurry. Like when he puts them on, you see Derrick Henry and Deion Lewis in Tennessee the year that was there.
Yeah.
You take them off and it's this year's Steelers backfield.
It's kind of true. It's kind of true.
Because his play style is like like not even great value, maybe like mid value, just because Derrick Henry's
He
insane.
does run very similarly.
But it's very similar. It's stylistically they are a very close comp. But I mean, I'm not going to comp him to Derrick Henry. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's a big
I would
back
have taken him
that
at
doesn't
120.
run big at times, if that's kind of what you're getting at.
Mhm.
And I felt like Najee Harris was very similar to that as well his first couple of years in Pittsburgh, whereas like he's a big, tall back, and you just didn't really see him kind of use that size. He was more of like a nifty runner. He found
Yeah.
the lanes. He was kind of
I
a bendy guy.
I think Caleb Johnson has the speed to work up in an outside zone scheme, which makes him a great fit for Pittsburgh and all. But like
He
that,
needed
I
to be
think
in his
that's
own
the difference.
team, which he landed in one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as far as scheme fits go, like he landed with the perfect team. I just hate everything about Pittsburgh's offense every year because
Yeah, it's becoming not a fun offense anymore. It was a lot of fun with the AB, the Heath Millers, like the back in the day. It was like always one of those offense you kind of wanted a chunk of. The James Connors, even before that.
If I'm Dustin, I'm hoping that they get Kirk Cousins and not Aaron Rodgers, because
Cousins would be awesome.
Aaron Rodgers just turns into the Aaron Rodgers offense regardless of who's calling plays.
Yep, it's just going to be back shoulder throws to whatever.
It's going to be so terrible for the run game because you just can't move. That's why the Jets' run game was terrible last year. He was back there, and their tight
end shotgun, like
their tight end room was fucking awful and couldn't block.
Yeah, yep. It's not a fun offense right now, and with frankly, I still think there's more moves to be had. There's still more uncertainty with like the quarterback. Is Pickens still going to be there? Like there's still just kind of question marks, and really the only positive thing that you can say at this point is they got DK, and they have I think a couple of really good running backs here. It's just a matter of how it's going to look and play out, because they could end up in some really shitty game scripts, and Caleb Johnson isn't really used quite as much. So maybe it's not as good as it seems. I think everybody when he landed here at Pittsburgh, it's like, oh shit, this is nice.
How sick is that front seven going to be this year, though?
Very, very good.
It's gonna be nice.
Very good. Yes, I love their defense in general, but I look forward to watching Caleb Johnson because I do think he's a good fit. And like I said earlier, he was my number 5 running back on my board pre-draft. I couldn't put him ahead of the other 3. At one point, I had him closer to Judkins. I had him pretty close to Judkins, but the more I watch tape, I do feel like there's a lot more of pro readiness to Judkins' game as opposed to Caleb Johnson, where I think Johnson's going to have to learn how to use his lanes a little bit better in terms of NFL speed, because like a lot of the teams he was playing in there in the Big Ten were a lot of slower linebackers, a lot of slower secondary members, and there was more. He was the offense for Iowa this year, so I can't fault him too much.
No running back saw more stacked boxes than Caleb Johnson.
And he just constantly made it work.
And he still made it work. Yeah.
And I think he averaged like 5 point something yards per carry. Like he was sick.
Yep.
My biggest problem, and I think I mentioned it pre-draft, is that Iowa's never had a good running back ever in the NFL.
Yeah, and he's kind of a shithead, and he went to Pittsburgh, which makes me not.
Yeah, he's a great culture fit for them. Great culture fit.
Well, until you run yourself out of town like everybody else does in Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm just joking around here. But like Charlie did mention that there were some concerns maturity wise, which totally aligns with everything else that the Steelers are doing. So, I mean, my biggest concern is that there's no track record of an Iowa running back working out in the NFL, like long term. It's just not like, I went through the whole list and I couldn't really find one that got me like really excited to be like, oh, I'm drafting an Iowa player. So that's the only thing I can think of. And of course it's a different system. It's a different coach. It's a whole different regime there. So maybe it's different. Maybe it's finally time. But let's keep moving on here. Let's get the grade for Caleb Johnson here at 2-1.
Hey,
I'm going to give it an A2 just because I had him as a first round player. I think I had him in somewhere in the 7 to 8 range on my board personally. So, really good pick here for Dustin. So he's got Genty, McMillan, Ekbuka, and Caleb Johnson with his first 4 picks in the top 11.
I think if you move these last 2 running backs just ahead of the 3 receivers before them, I think I'm perfectly on board.
Yeah, to me, honestly, if you flip-flop like Caleb Johnson at 8, if you flip-flop Johnson at 8 with Ekbuka at 2-1, like I like it even more. Like it's like the value would have been more aligned to what I thought at least. So let's keep moving along. We have another Alex Morales selection here
Oh
at
boy,
2-1, and it's Jaden
he's fourth.
Higgins. And I forgot what trade this was. I'm gonna have to look back at. I have the trades pulled up now.
Oh, is that one recent? Was that one also from?
He didn't have 2-2 heading into the draft, so I have to filter it by trades.
Who will find it first?
I'm gonna. So here's the Puka one. So is this one? Oh, it was with me.
It's
I'm an
you.
idiot.
You traded for it.
I forgot. So okay, so this is I can explain. So
let me explain.
Here we go. So sorry, I forgot. I completely blacked out.
You traded Chuba. You traded a second-round pick for Chuba Hubbard. You idiot.
Hey, listen, Sean.
I've been waiting like 3 weeks to say that.
Hey, second-round pick for Chuba Hubbard. It worked out for one guy. So I didn't believe in that at all at the time. So I'm a little bit of a hater here, but so my thought process was I really want a Harvey. I really want a Caleb Johnson. There were no other running backs on the board at this point. I like Scattaboo, but I wasn't willing to take him at 2-2. So my thought process is I'm going to take Loveland or I'm going to take Trey Harris if I have to stick here. I didn't really want to take Loveland because of Brock Bowers obviously being on my team. I didn't really feel good about taking another tight end here. And I really like Trey Harris, but I thought it was a little bit early for him as well. And my team is still lacking in running back talent. And at this point, Alex had just traded for Luther Burden in that 1-9, 2-9, 4-9 situation. So the fire sale is on. So I'm sitting here at 2-2 thinking, oh, Alex has a lot of players on his team that I don't necessarily love. However, they align perfectly with my other team members. So Najee Harris, obviously being kind of the 1A, 1B, whatever with Hampton made sense to me. Chuba Hubbard, I already have Jonathan Brooks, whether he might be dead or not, frankly, for dynasty purposes. But to get him and Dowdle in the package, I basically kind of secure that backfield, at least for this year. So I felt really good about trading a second for what I believe to be a starting running back in Chuba Hubbard, getting some really quality handcuffs for basically 2/4 in future years. So I thought it made sense for my team because I really wanted a running back in this slot, and I just couldn't get the ones that I wanted. So I feel like this is going to help my team this year and probably next year. But after that, it's kind of a bit of a wash. So we'll see how it goes. But I thought that this is not a move I usually make, but just in terms of looking at my running back roster after the draft, what I kind of have a spreadsheet where I have my current roster, my depth chart, if you will. I really like my running back depth chart now after making this deal where I feel like I have lots of handcuffs. I've got lots of backup plans in case of another Christian McCaffrey injury. So this was a move I felt like I kind of had to make in terms of getting that last number 4 running back on my team to go with Achane, McCaffrey, and now Hampton. So I felt really good about making that trade. And then with the trade, Alex picked Jaden Higgins at 2-2. Which I had him pretty close to Trey Harris. He was a little lower on my board because I had Collins already, so I didn't want to get too double dippy there. But I had Harris slightly ahead of him. But Jaden Higgins was an interesting player throughout the process for us, Sean, because we both talked quite a bit about Higgins. We were up and down and up and down.
The same exact roller coaster ride watching Jaden Higgins. It felt like so.
Yeah, early on I felt good.
The more I watched him, the less I liked him.
I think the issue here is that I think both of us agreed that we thought he would have been a better power slot.
He's a slot.
He's not truly like a great outside receiver. Like he's fine, but he definitely fits better in the slot.
He couldn't beat press man in college. He didn't see a lot of it. So in fairness to him, and he didn't separate. So he has great hands. He's got really an insane frame. I think his wingspan is like 6'8" plus for a wide receiver.
He's got those pieces.
Crazy. But yeah, it's really just about usage for him. I think, like, at first, the landing spot, amazing because you can play off of Nico Collins. So you're never really going to see the best press man player on the other team. So it really freed him up. And then they took Jalen Noel.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Very strange.
I have no idea what to make of that.
I mean, it's clear if they took Noel, To
I
me,
think,
that tells me that they want to play him outside.
yeah, I think Noel just coming into the draft was just straight up a better receiver than Higgins.
I had them like neck and neck. Like they weren't that. I mean, there's two very different players. So it's like to me to rank them side by side is very hard to do. They both play. They both play the same role though. If you think about it, though, it's kind of strange.
Yeah, I just from watching like tape on both of them, it seemed very evident to me that teams were scheming against Noel in college, and Higgins was the beneficiary a lot of times of
Right. I saw a
the
lot of
scheme going
single
away from him.
coverage on Higgins where he could
Yeah,
just go up and get a ball and I like in years past with the armadillos for example, like this was our kind of guy. Like we like these kind of guys, these big
yep.
non-separators, Iowa State, Hakeem Butler
Hakeem
connections.
Butler.
I mean, Iowa State, dude, Iowa State loves to produce these type of receivers. Hakeem
Yep.
Butler, before that, Alan Lazard was another one. Like this is like their type of receiver. They have one, it seems like every year, and not a lot of times they don't really work out, Sean. So I'm not really sure about this one. I still think I like the player enough that he was worth the second round pick. The Texans is a landing spot where they really do need receiving help, so he's going to get on the field. They took him very high in the second round draft capital wise, so I don't think there's too much to really like complain about here with this 2-2 selection. I had a couple of guys I would have taken a little sooner, like Loveland and Harris, but I would have put Higgins in the middle of the second round, I think, if I had to rank him after it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, I would have really thought about just taking Noel straight up over him.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
I
so
just
you
think he's a
feel
better
very
receiver.
differently than me then.
Yeah. So I love this pick. I think it's a C for me.
Yeah, I was going to give it a B minus just because I do think the draft capital
And
combined.
that's what will make the difference in them most likely in consensus like rookie drafts. Like I that's why I ended up getting Noel in the third round. Like
Yeah, I thought that was a
Raiders
very good value.
so
Yeah, I think you're going to see in almost every rookie draft, like this is kind of the range that Higgins is going to end up in. It's going to be that 2-1 to 2-5, somewhere in there, depending on how you like them, where the tight ends go, where quarterbacks go, and your super flex leagues, stuff like that. Like he's going to end up in this range. I saw Nico Collins comps to him, and I don't see that. I don't see that.
No.
I just don't see it.
I think he is Keon Coleman with juice.
I think he's a little thicker, but he does have some juice. He does have some juice.
Yeah, he's twitchier and faster than.
And I think he's a much better route runner than he was coming out. He's just not. He's just not good at separating. That's the problem. So it's very. He's a bit of an enigma as a receiving prospect. But I still think I see a route to it working out. So that's why I can't shit on it too much.
If they end up just splitting half and half, like in the slot between him and no, they've got Christian Kirk there too, who's also a slot player.
They have 3 slots. They have 3 slots.
In the Bucks.
I don't know what
the receiving core is the Bucks. He is. He's Jalen McMillan.
I don't know about that, but there's like the problem I have is like with the fact that they have those other guys. They're going to put him at outside. They're just going to like, there's no way he's not going to play outside with those other 2 players on the team. So
yeah, I'm scared for him. I like him. I just liked him less as I watched.
Yeah, like he's a fine prospect. So I don't want to shit on him too much. Like I definitely see the route to him being a good productive player in the NFL. It's just a little bit murkier now with the landing spot and who else they took. So
he was closer to like wide receiver 10 in this class for me pre-draft.
Okay, so you dropped him down quite a bit. I think I had him like 7 or 6 or something like that. So I still like the player. I just like he's like I say, he's one of my kind of guys. I just tend to like these players even though they don't work out a lot of times. All right, so let's go to 2-3. The first tight end comes off the board at 2-3, which I thought was a tremendous value here, Sean, for a team that frankly really needs the running back, or really needs the tight end, I should say. I think Loveland and Warren both got spots from a dynasty fantasy perspective that were both like, like like Bears, the mouth to feed offense, Warren going to the Colts, not ideal. If either of these tight ends had gone to like the Chargers, we would have been falling over ourselves to take them in like the first, probably.
Yeah, they would have
It's just a
been.
tough landing spot.
That would have been where after that drop off from Henderson, I think a good landing spot for either of those guys
Yeah, like
probably.
1.7 to 110, somewhere in that
Yeah.
range.
Yep.
Which is crazy. The fact that they end up here at 2, I truly believe like first round capital, especially for Loveland, top 10 capital. Like they're gonna get him the ball. Like he's just not going to, be this,
Yeah. I mean,
garbage asset or whatever. But like, I still think there's, I believe in Loveland significantly more than I believe in Tyler Warren for early production. We'll put it that way.
yes.
So I didn't think Warren. So I in the prospect propaganda episode and some other episodes, I talked very highly of Warren. And the more I kept thinking about Warren, I love Warren for the NFL. I just don't know if I love him for fantasy. And especially now with the Colts landing spot, I really don't know if I love him for fantasy because I feel like it's going to take, if you watch Warren play, he's
Is
not
he
a
playing
route
quarterback?
runner. What's that?
So is he playing quarterback?
He could. He could. He
His
absolutely could.
completion percentage probably be higher than Anthony Richardson.
I
So.
think I'll take him over Richardson from a completions. Yeah, absolutely. Which is sad. But like if you watch Warren play, the way he gets open is a lot of scheming open, and it's
Yep.
a lot of him not really running routes, but just finding soft spots. Where that's a very like Travis Kelce type of thing to do, but you don't get
Mhm.
that overnight. And it doesn't get that easy in your first year when Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones is throwing you the ball. So my concern with Warren, and I guess we can kind of lump these 2-3 and 2-4 together, is I just don't see like there's not going to be a Brock Bowers breakout year one for Tyler Warren. I think you'd be lucky to get 750 yards or something like that. I think
You'd
that's.
be lucky to get that from either of these guys in year one. But
I mean, you could argue that for Loveland, I guess, as well, because of how many mouths there are to feed there. Um, but for Warren, I dropped definitely below Loveland after the draft was completed. And I actually dropped him below Loveland before the draft even happened
same.
because I truly believe that
Yep.
Loveland is the more ready to go receiver of the two.
He's younger.
And he's younger, significantly younger. Um, so like I came around on Loveland a lot more as the process went on. So I think 2-3 is the right value. Definitely not overdrafted here. If anything, I thought the value was very nice. And this is kind of where the drop off happens to me. Was kind of after that Caleb Johnson spot that we talked about. So to me, any of these, this is where you can kind of go any different direction. But the fact that it was a tight end needy team like the Lambs are, to get Loveland here at 2-3, take the lottery ticket, and let's see what happens. You just want to take high draft capital and you want to take good, talented players, and let's see what happens. And I think he did that here. Any grade for Loveland, Sean?
I think it's an A-. Tight ends are the riskiest players to take in a draft.
Sure are. Yeah.
It's just like, are they going to be if I feel like they've got a chance to be a top 2 target on a team, I'm okay with spending like a late first on a tight end.
Yeah, basically that's what I did with Kincaid a couple of years ago.
If they're a top 3 target, like I don't mind passing on them.
Yeah, like if you ask me, I think his range this year was right about 2-1 to 2-5. Like if you're a tight end needy team, you got the top 10 capital. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons for me to get behind it. Whereas, like I think like we said earlier, if either of these guys went to like let's say a first round Rams selection or a first round Chargers, like I feel significantly better about the early production, and at that point I could take them in the first round. But like in both of these guys, 2-3, 2-4, we can lump both these grades together, I guess. I'll give Loveland an A because I think that the top 10 capital means a lot. And if you look at in their past drafts, the OJ Howards, the Tyler Eiferts that went the first, other tight ends that went in the first, to get him at 2-3 feels really good to me. So I like the pick, and Kincaid was a first as well. Hasn't really worked out either, but this is where I'm fine taking a lottery ticket. And if you looked back at our, last 3-4 years at the 2-3, 2-2, 2-4 landing spot for our rookie drafts, this is usually where the falling player ends up going. Like for example, last year I took Caleb Williams, I think at 2-3 or 2-4. and that was like, okay, I can't let this guy drop any further, and that's kind of like where we're at in this draft right now.
Mhm.
What did you give Warren for the grade?
Probably an A- as well. I don't have a problem with any of these picks. I think they're both good picks.
Yeah,
It's just such a risky position to me. I wouldn't give it anything higher than an A-.
sure. And I'll give it an A- for this one because I love Tyler Warren as a player. Like, he's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, right.
I just do worry about his early production, but he's one of those guys that my favorite comp that I saw was Jeremy Shockey. And I really, really believe in that comp. Like, he's just kind of like a caveman running around playing football, and it just kind of works. So like, I can see him being that kind of player down the line, but early on, I don't think you should expect like giant production. And I really don't think that Dustin is either here. But I'm looking at Dustin's boards, all the players he's picked so far, and I love where he got these guys, and I think this team got a lot better with these first 5 picks.
Mhm.
So I really think he did a great job, and we'll get to the what's that? I'm sorry.
Except for Igbuka.
Yeah, I know you're not feeling that one so much, but I just like the players he got. So we'll go with that to start. Next up, we got your pick here, 2-5, which I believe was involved in that trade as well.
Yep.
And I actually probably should look up that trade because we have the full list of. Let's see, here it is. So the trade was Kyron Williams and 3-3, which turned into Jalen Knoll, for RJ Harvey, Kyle Williams, and Torrey Horton was the total trade. If you look at it from a player
I
standpoint.
ended up trading for that 303 after I traded him. That's funny.
Oh yeah, interesting.
I want it back.
He got it and got it back. So like Kyle Williams here at 2-5. Tell me what you like.
I pre-draft, he was my after the top 5 receivers, if you're counting Travis Hunter, he was the next receiver on my board.
Number 6.
Yeah,
Very high up there.
I think he got a better landing spot than Igbuka and Burden. So for me, I would have taken him ahead of both of those guys.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I would have taken him ahead of Igbuka, but I could have considered it against Burden. I just wasn't that high on Kyle Williams. I like him, but I wasn't loving him. I saw a comp to Darnell Mooney, and I loved it because I do think he's a very similar, slender built, really good route runner, has the speed, but maybe not just a true volume guy, kind of like a better as a number 2 in the NFL kind of guy. Like that being said, I do like the player. He was really fun to watch. Like every time I watched his tape, I was like, oh shit, this guy's like really fun to watch. And I can see him being a good NFL receiver. So I don't know if I could have gone like that high on my board. I'm pretty sure I had him somewhere in the wide receiver, like 8 to 9 range on my board. But I like the player. And I think once we get to this portion of the draft, where it's kind of just like take your flavor of receiver at this point.
Took my guys all day.
And that's what you're supposed to do, Sean. That's what this draft is all about. It's take best player available on your board. To me, like that's the way I do it. Who's left on the board? Does it make sense for my team? I'm going for it. So if this is, if you want to take your shot on your guy, the only thing that like it's just hard to project the New England offense for me a little bit this year. Like I definitely would like to see them do it before I start. I'm a little bit agnostic towards the Patriots right now because I would love to see them do it before I get super invested.
I really feel comfortable saying that he's probably going to be the number 1 receiver on this team by the end of the year.
Okay. So I mean, like that's a strong statement, I would say. Like, I don't know if I can agree with that right now. There's just like, I looked at their depth chart the other day. They don't have a lot of great players, but they have a lot of guys that are like, oh yeah, he's like fine. He's fine. Like it's just like Demario Douglas, Stephon Diggs, Kendrick Bourne, Kayshon Boutte, and then the ghost of Jalen Polk. Like there's
poor Polk.
Yeah, I mean it's just like
he might be a guy that gets traded.
Honestly, it's probably the best thing for him at this point. Even Javon Baker is still there. Like they have like just this conglomerate of Thornton. They just too many guys, just too many fucking guys. So it's like
Yeah.
somebody's got to be good out of this group. But I said that last year,
I
so it's
the
just
3 guys that I feel comfortable or safe are Diggs, Kyle Williams, and Pop Douglas.
yeah, I would say so. I'd say that's very fair. And then if you're just looking at draft capital and where they were taken, like Polk probably makes the team at some like at the end of the roster. And Booty played good enough last year that I don't think you can get rid of him. So I think it's going to be an interesting receiving room to say the least. And somebody will emerge because I do believe in Drake May. And I think their offensive coordinator situation from Alex Van Pelt to Josh McDaniels gets significantly better. So I like a lot of it.
If and to pump up my guy Kyle Williams just a little more here, I think he's the best separator at the receiver position in this class.
I got to think about that one.
And off press, man press, I think he's second best to Travis Hunter in this class. I like both of those things a lot.
Yeah, I think I can go. I really like the way Buka separates too. But I don't think they're that different of players. I mean, I think Williams is faster, but
Yeah,
they,
I think he's a different level of athlete that Ibuka is.
yeah, I mean I just think like in terms of the role they might play, it's maybe not that different. But I feel like Kyler Williams is just one of those guys that I just feel like there was a lot of, especially analytically, his profile isn't like super great. Obviously a late breakout, got Washington State competition's not super great there.
That was my only holdup until he was the best receiver at the Senior Bowl.
And yeah, he was very good at the Senior Bowl.
Fine. I was perfect.
I just need to see him do it against those guys.
We did this like last year with Quinyon Mitchell in the draft, where he was like, well, like, can he do it against guys? And he was the standout in the Senior Bowl, and he goes in the first round.
Every single year, there's a great offensive lineman that does it too. This year was Greg Abel. Yeah, yep. The year before that was like Ali Marpet. So you just want to see him do it, and then okay, you feel better about taking him. So once again, I don't think I would have taken him here on my board personally, but he was in the mix for a second round pick for me. With my team needs, I probably would have taken Scatterbu or Trey Harris here, but just I like the player, but I don't love him.
Wow. Okay. I have another running back that I would have taken ahead of Scatterbu, but
okay. All right, we'll get there. Okay. I would give this pick. Man, this is a tough one to grade because I just wasn't this high. I think I would give it. I'd give it a B. I think I'd give it a solid B. And I thought about a B minus just because like this wide receiver room is so muddy right now. But if he is truly like what I think he could be, and he's like a kind of a souped up, maybe a high end version of Darnell Mooney, which is what I kept looking when I kept watching. I was like, oh, this is so Darnell Mooney. He just gets separation, just makes it work. He's fast. If that's the case, then he could absolutely be worth the 2.5 spot. So,
and the muddy room, just for a second, new regime in
correct.
The two guys that they've brought in are Diggs and Kyle Williams. So
yeah,
for me, I just
that means something.
Guys, I think that just makes a big difference. So
I think it does help a ton. I mean, especially like Vrabel is he's not going to take you if he doesn't think you got a dog in you, and I think that's a good thing for. And I do think Kyle Williams has that. So there's a good chance that he ends up being the starter at the very least. All right, let's go to the next pick here. Justin Senior's first pick takes Cam Scatterbu, going to the New York Giants, I believe in the 4th round. I think he was a 3rd round back in my eyes for the NFL, but just like we said earlier, the running backs all got probably bumped down a round.
Literally what I wrote on the draft grade.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel like this guy's so fun to watch, dude. Like he's just an absolute bowling ball out there. I kept getting Doug Martin vibes, like just the Doug Martin run hard, but nothing's happening very fast. But like it's working, and that's I feel very similarly. So I gave him like a Doug Martin comp. I really like the player. I still have a soft spot for Tyrone Tracy, man. Like I don't think he's just gonna go away. That's kind of why I factored him into my decision making at the running back spot. I think I had him as my number 13 ranked player. So this
No,
not. Where did you have him? I'm curious,
I
or like
probably close
whereabouts,
to
I should
like
say.
probably a back end too. Like
Okay,
he's
back
right
end.
where I think he's yeah, he's within where I thought he would go. But
Okay. What do you think about Scadaboo? Like landing spot, all that.
I I like him. I
Well, tell me what running back did you have ahead of him? I guess then.
um I I would have thought about taking Tootin ahead of him,
Okay. Okay.
but
Interesting.
I think that's just because of the way I think it's gonna break down in Jacksonville. I just think Tootin's gonna end up being the starter. So
It's very possible that he ends up being the guy. I mean, like you said, for the Patriots pick, like this is a new regime. They got their own guys, and Tootin kind of does profile pretty well into that Bucky role for the Liam Cohen offense. So I could see him being, a well thought of player, at least in dynasty circles. I think there's maybe a more immediate path for Scadaboo, maybe, where
are
it's
you
like
sure? They've got
maybe
they still have Singletary under contract too, and
that's true. I kind of forgot
Daboll
about Singletary.
Daboll loves Singletary.
I know he's one of his guys. He's his boy. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love Scadaboo, and I just feel like he's such a dog that like he's the kind of guy that might make you forget about Singletary. It's like, oh, well, we got
Yeah,
this guy who, Devin Singletary is great for 4.2 yards per carry, but we got Cam Scadaboo who can also get us 4.2 yards per carry, but he looks way more fun doing it. So like I feel like there's some maybe some flashiness to Scadaboo's game, and I think he's
I
better on third downs.
if we're not talking about Singletary, I love that you don't need to they're him and Tracy are so drastically different as running backs.
Yeah,
But you don't have to like you can run the same exact play with both of them in there.
correct. And they both
It's
can play
fun.
well on
I like
third
that a
downs.
lot. Yeah.
Like Scadaboo is fucking awesome as a receiver too. So like I
Mhm.
think that they really do have two backs that are very capable of just handling the load if you need them to. So I mean, and I also think that um, for Scadaboo, like in terms of the offense as a whole, if a Tracy were to go down, or even Singletary for that matter, like I feel very good about putting him into my starting roster as a guy that can take 15 to 20 carries, get you some receiving yards and pass protect at a high level. So like at the 2.6 spot, I think he can do it.
A solid level.
I
His
think it's
misses
solid level.
his misses on pass pro are pretty
I
bad.
mean, he whiffs, but it's because he's just like so
He's
gung
trying to
ho. I
kill
think it's
somebody.
very coachable.
His pass pro might be the most entertaining part of his tape because you don't know
Yeah,
if
like
he's
he's
gonna
either gonna
die
murder
or
you
kill
or do
somebody.
nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, I feel like he's got like some coachability that maybe some other guys
Oh,
don't
yeah, he's
have. So like he's not a
ultimate
guy I'm worried about in that
coachable guy.
scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2.6. I feel like this is for me it's a good value. Maybe not for you.
It's
So
still an A minus, don't get me wrong, like,
like I say, I'd give it an A minus at the very least. I
yeah,
think
this
because
is a good
I
pick.
like the pick. I like the spot he got him at. He needs a running back. All this, all the
I'm not
stuff.
gonna I'm not gonna diss a cult hero on the internet, I know better.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know anybody that doesn't like Cam Scadaboo. He's like a Mecca Boo. Like I don't know anybody talking shit about him. Like he's just like a quality player. He might not be, like elite upside or anything, but I really love the player. So for Justin's team, he really needs the running back. So that this was a good pick.
No doubt.
All right, next pick we have Vincent Patrick Nanny, the GM of the Lauderdale Lionheads, taking Trey Harris at 2.7. For my board, like I said, I had him ranked probably higher than most people. Um, I fell in love with Trey Harris during the draft process. I really liked the fact that he was a long separator route runner, can get open in the middle of the field. He profiles so well to this offense in the Chargers, where they don't really have this
Mhm.
guy on the team. I think they thought Quentin Johnson was going to be that guy. It did not happen. Um,
Well, they have Mike
I,
Williams on this team.
they do
So,
have Mike Williams, which frankly is a good person to learn from because
yeah.
early day Mike Williams is not a terrible comp here. I just really like this player. And to get him at 2.7, where I think there's a real shot he is going to be the starting receiver at some point this year when Mike Williams inevitably gets hurt or something like that. But
Yeah, I
um,
think this was my favorite pick by Vince, this draft.
I really like this. I really like this pick. I liked it significantly better than some of the other ones. And I think like for me at least, Harris, like I see a projection where he could be, a top 24 dynasty receiver because of his size, like what he's got in the tank. Like he's untapped potential is very high. And I think he could get better in the NFL than he was in college. So to get him here at 2.7 especially feels like really good value.
Yeah, I think it might be slow goings at first. That's my only concern. Like I think it might take a while,
Correct. I could see that as well. I could see
whether
it maybe
that's
taking,
week
half a
8
year to get
or
going.
2026. I'm not sure, but yeah, because
I would feel better about 26. Yeah.
he was literally asked to run like 3 routes in college, like,
Yeah.
and he did them all very well. But
And he was good at it. That's
yeah,
what's giving me the hope here. The hopium is strong because like
that and he is very underrated after the catch, I think.
he ran the shit out of the ball after the catch.
Yeah.
Like all the crossers that I watched him catch, he was always getting like 10 more yards after the crosser. Like it was
Mhm.
pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think he is the reason Jackson Dart went in the first round
I
for
think
me.
that's a big piece of it. I think there's they had a couple other
And
guys
Lane
on this.
Kiffin, but yeah,
They had like Antoine Wells, who was a really good slot guy, and of course the running backs have been pretty good at Ole Miss recently. But he is a big piece of this, the big piece of this puzzle. But I really like Harris's. I mean, my favorite thing from him that he, like you said, he ran 3 routes. He ran them all well. But when you watch him do like an 8-yard curl, 10-yard curl, big 6'3" receivers don't sink their hips often like he does. So that gives me hope that he can do a lot more in the NFL than what he was given. Whereas I like, for example, like a Jaden Higgins, I don't think did some of the same things at basically the same size.
right,
I don't think I saw the same things. So I didn't have Trey Harris and Jaden Higgins really that far apart at all in my rankings. So I think he could have gone as high as 2.2 in this draft. So love the pick here. I'm going to give it an A because I just like the player a lot.
same.
All right, we'll keep it moving here to another Justin receiver here. Let's see. We got Jack Besh from the TCU Horned Frogs, which has not been a great great receiver production room, but he did play a lot of time at LSU.
That's why I like to refer to him as LSU Jack Besh because I believe in him.
Yeah, like I don't think he like, and I keep saying this is like, oh, this is finally the year that a TSU receiver is going to work, but I think this actually might be the year that it works because like he wasn't actually a TCU receiver. Like this whole like NIL thing is jacked up all that. So like the real TCU receiver is Savion Williams. We'll talk to him in a little bit, but yes, that's the real TCU buzz. But Jack Besh, just man, he's just one of those guys that like if he didn't play for like 7 to 8 years in the NFL, I would be shocked
I'd be
because
shocked.
he's
Yeah.
just such a solid player. Like he's a mix of something between like a Jordy Nelson and like an Adam Thielen, like something. Of course, white guys, but it's just like it's just like that
Official
type of
comps.
guy. Yeah, seriously. But yeah, the most comps I saw were like, oh, Cooper Kupp. Like, I don't see that quite, but he's got legitimate route running ability. He played at tight end at LSU, and I'm sure you've probably heard the stat at this point that he was the leading receiver above like Malik
What?
Neighbors and all these other guys. Yeah, I was gonna say it's the most
We
talked
said
about
that back and
stat.
forth to each other like 5 times.
Yeah, it's absurd amount of times I heard that stat this time around. But he did have a really productive season as a tight end there, and then lost some weight to convert to tight or to receiver. So I think he'll be a great like big slot. I think he'll have position versatility to play the outside as well.
I think he will play outside very well too. Yeah.
I think for the Raiders, he's going to be more of an outside guy.
The only thing that isn't great on his tape is being able to win downfield or separate downfield.
He's just not that fast.
He does everything else. I think if I thought Kyle Williams was the best separator in this class, nobody changes directions better than Jack Besh in this class. It's elite, like elite.
I don't know. I have to think about that one for a minute too. I don't know about that, but I did see exactly what you're saying though, like where there were times where I would watch him do, like a post corner, a double move or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, that guy got out of there like fast. And for a bigger, bulkier guy that played tight end to be able to do that and I think this is what the Raiders and Spytech saw is like, there's not many guys that do this, like rare human traits that just you don't see often. And frankly, he's a perfect fit for this offense.
I love the concept of this offense of just like
it's great.
Besh, Jacoby Myers,
Bowers,
Bowers,
Genty.
just which one's going to be in the slot? Where's everybody going to be moving around?
Everybody can play everywhere.
I love it.
Which is so cool. Yeah, like this, the Raiders have gone from like literally in 2 years, the offense I wanted to watch the least to the most, arguably now. Like I really am excited to watch this
They've
team.
got the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. It's great.
Debatable there too, but I think that was a great move for them though. I love that trade for them. This team is actually like legitimately in the mix. Like they're like I actually enjoy what they've done this offseason, and I think they'll be a lot better. But I like this pick here. I think it was a good, range of picks for him. I would have put him at the end of the second. So this kind of works for me.
Yeah, I mean this is an A for me. I like Besh. I had him higher than Trey Harris and Jade Higgins. So.
Okay, wow. So you're really all in on Jack Besh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Trey Harris. Going back to him real quick because I wanted to say this before we left. Like his apex is higher than all of these guys in the second round.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, he absolutely has the highest ceiling.
He's going to get there specifically in that offense where it's a good fit. But like volume wise, I just don't know if he's ever going to be able to get there unless they change their OC because their OC sucks.
Anyway. Yeah, and I just think they're it's just not their identity. Like they're a run team. Like, and he's not going to be a guy that's getting 11 catches a game. Like I just don't see that. But if he breaks, a couple of deep passes, 5 catches, 6 catches, something like that, that's where I could see him settling in. But for Besh, I like the pick. I think he out of a lot of the other guys on this team, like he could absolutely absorb a ton of volume. There's nothing that say he couldn't. So I think he's just a good team fit, and for Justin, I give this one an A as well because I like the player a lot. Let's go to the next pick here. Alex Morales' second pick out of this trade takes Cam Ward, which I thought was an interesting move, considering he already has Patrick Mahomes and is in this rebuild mode, if you will, again. The thing is, I wanted to say I didn't love this pick. But then I kind of was thinking to myself, what other players here, would I take and feel better about than Cam Ward, especially as a rebuilder? It's a lot of, from this point on, I think there was another tier break basically after Tootin, frankly, for me, that I couldn't see a lot of guys that I'd be like, oh, I can really believe in this guy being in the league for 6-7 years and feel good about it. Maybe like a Jalen Noel, but there just wasn't a lot of guys that as in Alex positions. I don't know if any of these guys would have lasting trade impact, trade value, these kind of things that his team actually needs to be thinking about at this point. So I don't hate the pick, but from a team building perspective, he's got Mahomes, and unless I would imagine that at this point he'd be trying to unload Mahomes, I don't see where Ward fits on the field production wise for you.
Yeah, I mean, we really got to ask ourselves if this means that he's going to have to drop Hendon Hooker now since he drafted.
I think he already did. I think he may have been gone already. I could be wrong on that, but pour one out for Hendon Hooker. I like that guy though. I really liked Hendon Hooker. He's a nice kid. But yeah, I mean, like Ward to me, I saw him in this draft. I thought there was potential for him to go in the second to one of those James and Tibbs spots. But with the trade happening, that didn't quite materialize for those teams. So I was kind of thinking that now is he'd probably go in the third. But so this is value wise, not a terrible value here. I still think there's a real chance that Ward is a very, very good quarterback. So
we really haven't talked that much about Cam Ward, have we?
Not much on this podcast. No,
it's kind of just how it's been going for him in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the Shadur show, and it's just whatever.
But I like Cam Ward. I think he probably would have been QB5 for me last year.
I think he would have gone above Knicks for most people. Yeah,
but he is, I think, because he was just so easily the consensus one by the end. He's kind of a scary profile.
Very scary profile.
Fantasy, there's a very real chance where he's just a turnover machine in the NFL.
Yep.
And that's just a good way to not be around for very long. So,
I mean, I hate to say it, there's a little Jameis to his game. There is a little Jameis in there.
Yeah. I mean,
a little pepper in there of Jameis.
His turnover worthy rate in college last season was 3.3%, which is high for
Yeah, I
college.
mean,
That's high for the NFL, but that's really high for college. He got away with
he's
a lot, but he was also playing a lot of hero ball.
sure was.
So for me, it just comes down to like, was he doing that because that's his play style, or was he doing that because he thought that was the only way they were going to win games? And
It's a
what
good
comes out
question.
after?
Like he's a guy like especially after watching some interviews and stuff like I believe in the guy. Like I feel good
Mhm.
about the player. Like if I had to bet on somebody
Oh,
to
he's like in his
not bust,
Jalen Hurts like mentality game, like already. Like,
like the videos with him and Sanders working out together. Like I love those so much. I was
yep,
like, dude, this is my guy. Like I like this guy.
yeah.
Um,
If I'm betting, I'm betting on him. I'm not betting.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
not.
not gonna bet on him to bust. So I don't think that's gonna happen. I think at the very least he'll settle in, somewhere in the the fine starter range. Like I don't think he's going to be a mega bust, but there will be times where he's frustrated and frustrating to play because I think he's going to throw some picks his rookie year for sure, and there's going to be some growing pains. But once again, like I think he's a fine quarterback prospect. I think the fact that there's just really no other options this year at quarterback. Frankly, maybe he shouldn't truly be a 1-1, but like he was a top 10 guy for me from a talent standpoint. So I like the player, but for Alex's team, I'm just not really sure, where like my gut is that he ends up getting traded, frankly. Like I don't think he's going to end up on Alex's team unless like a
Hmm.
Mahomes gets traded or something. I feel like this may not be a long-term muskrat. So we'll see what happens there. Uh, what would you give the pick here? Because this is an interesting grade.
I'd probably go like a B or B plus, somewhere in that range, just because like at this point, like you're taking probably the only viable quarterback in the draft. So like there's
Yeah,
something to be said.
immediate viability, yes, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. You could say that. I'm just gonna go with just in general, but
I mean, like you're not seeing Dart until week 8, probably at the very earliest. So
I think that would be a mistake by the Giants, but
I wouldn't play him at all this year
I
personally.
wouldn't. I would.
But the
Yeah,
Giants are not
I would Jordan love his ass, but they're not the kind of franchise that has the
It's the
stability.
Giants.
Yeah, they don't have the
Yeah,
stability to
I
do
don't
that.
believe in them, so I just feel like they're gonna find a way to get him into the lineup some point this year. Yeah, I'll give it. Man, the thing is, there's just not a lot of other players here. If you look at the way the board fell,
Yeah,
that I would take over him. Maybe I think personally I would have taken Tootin probably. But
sure. He's
yeah, I don't.
obviously made a choice to just not take running backs. I think that was
Sure, and like
evident at
if
this point.
and not until the fourth, at least you can see on this board. But like to me, like if you're gonna trade for 2-9, you better get somebody that is going to be around for a while in your rebuild. So I think that's not a bad practice. Okay, let's go to the next pick. We got Dustin here. Bashal Tootin just mentioned. That was really good value. I
Speed.
Tootin was a guy that when I just watched his film, I came away feeling good every time I watched the
So
film.
so fucking fast.
He's so fast and he's not afraid of contact. He will bang into guys. He will get yards after contact. He will push piles. So he's not just a fast guy, which I
He
really
might
appreciate.
fumble.
He might fumble a few times or 11, but he is an interesting player because I do think he's got the inside running capabilities. He's got the speed. He's got the cutting ability. He runs hard. I still think there's more to be desired in the passing game. I think he can do it, but I would like to see him do it more. Um, I just like the player a lot, and the fact that he got the good capital in a new regime, new situation. I don't think ETN has done anything to improve his stock recently. Bigsby has not really been special in any way. Like there's a real chance that he ends up being the starter very quickly in this offense. So I'd like to get a guy like that at 210 feels very good to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great value here. It's an A for me.
Yeah, to me this is an obvious A because like when you look at what's left on the running back board after this, if you're trying to look for like A, immediate, and B, long-term starting potential, like Tootin is kind of one of the last guys that like gives you that profile, that workhorse, every down and upside. Like he's got the upside. So I thought this was a really good value. All right, next pick. We got two James CPU selections back to back. We have
Oh,
Jalen
boy.
Royals and Jaden Blue. And let's start with Jalen Royals here. I love the player pre-draft, frankly. I was very surprised he went in the 4th round of the NFL draft. I thought for sure he would have been a 3rd. So that was a bit surprising. His
Agreed.
landing spot, I texted this to James. I think this is a direct Rashee Rice handcuff. I think he is literally the perfect player for that role, Sean.
Are you sure you didn't read my draft grades?
Maybe I did. I don't know. But no, I literally texted James this like a couple days ago, so you can
I
ask him. But
I said this feels like a Rice contingency plan of like,
and it's a good one. Like
yeah,
it's a
they're
perfect fit.
very,
A
yeah,
perfect fit.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean he
Makes
is
sense.
that. So the way that Jalen Royals was used at Utah State was disgusting. It was one of the most horrific offenses, probably the least fun tape to watch. They put him on the boundary, so close to the boundary that it looked like a high school offense at times. It's like you're basically just trying to create space for whatever shit you're doing in the middle of the field. And
Mhm.
it's like, why is Jalen Royals like your best player doing this? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. There is so much more upside available for Royals than I think he's got some of the most upside of anybody in this receiving draft class. You just didn't get to see it a whole lot. So like I'm hopeful that he can do it. And frankly, with like we said earlier, Rashee Rice probably going to be suspended early in the year. This is the guy I think would take that spot. I think he's in that Juju Rashee Rice role, and I think that's a perfect fit for him. It's hard to tell, with Rice and these other guys they have on the rosters, that truly is going to be where he ends up.
I think like hearing what's happening in training camp like early on is going to be like
Very
it's going to
vital.
tell you a lot about where he's going to end up. Because if
Yes.
he's just like flying by like the mediocre guys on this in this wide receiver room, like
Yeah, like he should be smoking Sky Moore right out the
yeah,
gate.
Sky
Like,
Moore, Juju should be on the roster bubble. Like he should be putting him on the roster bubble. Like kind of
yes,
thing.
yes.
So if
Agreed.
you hear that early on, like yeah, wheels up. Like I'm in.
And like
This year.
honestly, it's a bit concerning for like Rice in general. Like, I mean, he is going into his 3rd year. He is probably going to be suspended like 4 to 6 games, something like that. And he's only got 1 year left on that rookie deal after that year. Like this long term, like Royals could be the guy instead, and he might just be the eventual replacement for that. So to get a guy like this at 3-1 with this much upside in such a good offense with good draft capital in the 4th round in the NFL draft, like this is an A. This is an A easy.
Yeah, I think there's still volatility to
There's
it.
volatility, yeah,
So I'll
but
go A minus
I
because like
think the
I
A I give him just because it's 3-1.
yeah, I don't see like there's a path. I think we'll know that path a lot better probably in a couple months. We figure out what's going on with Rice and all that. But yeah, A minus for me. It's a really good pick.
I think it's gonna be a fun training camp this year because there's so many of these, especially for the running backs, because there's so many backs that are maybe not like, for example, like Scadaboo, a Tootin, Jarquez Hunter, Jaden Blick, all these guys, they're in some sort of battle. And I think like all those battles will materialize themselves over the training camp and the preseason. So it should be like this preseason should be awesome to watch because there are so many guys like fighting for spots. Whereas like it used to be like, oh, like the starters aren't playing, like, but now this year, like I'm excited to watch, like, for example, like the next guy we're talking about, a Jaden Blue in preseason. I'm excited to watch a Woody Marks in preseason. I'm excited to watch, Jarquez Hunter, like guys like this. So I'm really excited.
Backs.
What's that?
I said, yay, third down backs.
I do like that. I like running backs in the
I
3rd
know.
downs. I'm okay with that. So yeah, Jaden Blue. I gotta be honest with you, Sean. I wasn't as high on this player. I like what he can do out of the backfield as kind of a satellite back. I just
Mhm.
don't like. I don't project him to be a big volume guy at really any point. I could be completely wrong on that, but there's just something about him. 5'9", 196. Like it's not a huge profile for like any sort of massive volume. I mean, it's been done before, of course, but um, I do think there is some level of upside here, though, with the fact that it isn't a wide open room. And I do think he is a bit of an undervalued player just in general because he's played behind such good running backs over the last few years, and he's just now getting his opportunity.
Mhm.
And when he played, like it's like, damn, okay, this guy's got some. There's something here, but it's just a matter of like, okay, how's it going to shake out with the rest of the room? That's my only real question here.
Yeah, I mean, the ceiling, it just feels capped for me, obviously, but that's what puts him in the 3rd round. So, like, for me, the value is there where he's could definitely be a productive player in year 1. It wouldn't surprise me. It's just a matter of, like, how much production can you really get
I
out
mean,
of
he
him
got
just with
got
that
decent
profile.
capital too. I mean, like 149 this year is actually like legitimately good capital.
Mhm.
He's only 21 as well, which is nice. But my thought on Blue is like there are definitely guys in this 5'9", 200, whatever category that end up having, like they think that they're going to be a satellite back, but they end up having a pretty good career and end up like being useful at least as a flex player or something like that. So there's not to say that this guy can't do it, but I would say the odds are against him to be like a true starter in fantasy. But like it's the 3rd round, like you said, and he got a great number. Look at this, Sean, 34. He got the Philip Tanner number, huge, massive.
It's
So
huge.
that's actually a good number for running back. I like that one. Um, that
Yeah.
means a lot to me. I think I would give this. Think I'd give it like a B, just because I'm not in love with the player.
Yeah, it's gonna go B plus. I like it, like, I mean, finding players that could potentially just be a ready-made, like, contributor in year 1 in the 3rd round, I think it's really hard to knock that. So,
Yeah, I mean, if he ends up winning this job and or even having a 1B role, because I don't think there's a lot of other running backs on this roster that can do the things he does, which is
yeah.
nice. Not yet, but they could always add one here. But I like the pick here because there's some opportunity available. Next pick up, Jalen Noel, your pick here at 3-3. He goes to the Texans at pick number 79. So a very high selection this year in a very deep draft class. So they clearly thought highly of him. Just took Jaden Higgins. So give me your thoughts here on Jalen Noel. I know we talked a little earlier.
I mean, I already said I had him ahead of Higgins, like, pre-draft, so, like, he was a top 50 player for me in the draft. I just thought he
Okay.
was I think he is very good. He's vertical slot. I think to me, if, like, there's a high-end comp for him, it's probably Lad.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I could
So,
see it though.
like, where he can probably give you a little bit on the outside, but, like, he's gonna be dynamic in the middle of the field, especially getting downfield. He's fast, he's thicker than you, like, expect.
Yeah.
So, like, he can win, like, considering his size, he's pretty good in contested catch situations. So, like, I don't know, I like him quite a bit. I think I honestly can't believe he fell that far in the draft. So,
Yeah. I think it's funny that he ends up with a team with like Christian Kirk, which is not that different of a player from a
mhm.
profile, like bigger, thicker, vertical slot. Um, I liked him on tape, but then like he dropped a lot of balls too, which kind of concerned me. But like this team needs like without Tank Dell, they're gonna need somebody like this long term. I don't think Dell is gonna be long for the NFL, unfortunately, but um, like they're gonna need a guy like this. I am interested to see how the targets shake out now with him and Higgins and Nico. I think Nico will obviously get his, but I feel like there's going to be a battle for that second spot, and who wins it is kind of up for grabs. But I think I would bet on Noel to be at least a solid contributor for fantasy. And frankly, like you said, like I think he went too late in the draft. I think he should have gone a little bit higher based on what he shows. Like he is a great route runner. He was very good at the Senior Bowl. He's like I said, the only real question I had was maybe some hands issues, but that can always be fixed as long as you get on the jug machine. Unless you're Robert Haran, there's always opportunities for you to get better at that. So yeah, I like the player. And then for here for 3-3, I mean, like if you end up getting, you know, a very solid Houston Texans starting receiver at the third round, third pick, that seems pretty good to me. So I think I would give this pick an A minus probably.
I'll take it.
All right, let's keep it rolling. You got two more picks here back to back. We got two running backs. We got Devin Neal going to the New Orleans Saints and Brashard Smith to the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe Neal was a 6, I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah,
He was
6th
six.
round,
Was a
184, and then
seventh.
7th at 228. So we have a couple of guys here. So like Neal was the one guy that, like, if you look at all the running backs and where they were drafted, I thought he was underdrafted in the NFL. Like
Yeah. He was a top 10 back to me in
he
this
was a
draft.
4th round pick to me in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like he's a perfect, like, doesn't do anything great, but does everything
Solid, baby.
so fucking solid.
Yep.
He's young. He's got a ton of workhorse potential. He did it in college. He's just prototype NFL size, 5'11", 213. Like
He did it
I
for a bad team in the SEC too. And
very bad team. Very bad team. Like his tape, he is the team. He is the team. And he's a captain. He's a great guy. Like he's just like the fact that he didn't go higher is just a testament to how deep this class was.
And is a year one handcuff for me. So
that's the thing is basically like if you look situation wise, I mean, realistically, the only guy he's got to beat out is Kendra Miller for that backup spot. And I mean, as a Kendra Miller draftee, the old regime hated him for sure. I don't know about
everybody
this new one.
hates him.
I know a lot of people are not on his team right now. But you know, I thought that I still think there's something there maybe for him, but he just can't stay healthy either. Which makes me feel even better about Devin Neal. Because like Devin Neal is going to be the guy that comes in and you don't have to worry about him doing anything poorly. Like he's just going to be a good, solid pass protector, a good pass catcher. He's going to get you 3 or 4 yards. Like to me, he's not that different than Blake Corum was coming out. He's not that different.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron Williams is the guy for me here. Like,
I mean, yeah, that kind of adds up. Like it's a class. Like the Rams should have took him basically.
Yeah, does everything well.
Just solid, just rock solid. There's like for all the guys taken on day 3, and like especially in these last couple of rounds, 6 and 7, I would put my money on Devin Neal to be a really to be an impactful player, and I think he's gonna have a long NFL career just because of how solid he is.
I like Devin Neal a lot, but I'm just so excited to talk about the next guy because he's
okay. Sure, yeah, we can. I would give this pick at least a B plus A probably for me. So we'll keep moving to Brashard Smith.
My favorite player in the whole draft right here.
Okay, so there you go. So this is a super sleeper here. He's turned into not really much of a sleeper anymore because the landing spot is kind of juicy here.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of SMU football, obviously being out here. Brashard Smith was a huge factor in the fact that they even made it to the college football playoff, let alone, even produce anything really. I mean, their quarterback gets quite a bit of buzz, the young quarterback they have there at SMU, but Brashard Smith is a fun running back to watch. His knock is just his size. Like he's not that big.
So he's a converted wide receiver. So not a lot of tread as a running back coming into the NFL.
Correct.
But he looks very natural between the tackles for a guy that is so new to the position, a la Tyrone Tracy last year. And I just got a thing for converted wide receivers and running backs, I guess. I don't know. I just love his tape. He is super fun. The only thing that concerns me is like when he runs hard for his frame where it puts himself in positions to fumble too much.
I see. Okay.
That's my biggest concern coming into the league. But if we're just talking talent and like juice, I think he's already the fastest running back in that room in Kansas City, and they love speed. So
I think he took the 2 most underrated players in the draft, honestly, from a running back standpoint. I love Devin Neal as an underrated back, and I think like my comp for Brashard Smith might be a little high, but I had Bucky Irving. Like little guy, runs through the tackles incredibly well, always makes somebody miss in the hole. Like they're not that different. Like as prospects, when they both came out, they both did very similar things.
I mean, as an undersized back, like high-end comp, like if I'm shooting for the stars, it's James Cook for me.
That's an interesting comp too. Honestly, it's not that different either. Yeah, like I looked at like last year when Bucky Irving came out, I comped him to Duke Johnson, where it was like a guy that like smaller guy that shouldn't run through the tackles well, but somehow does. Like that's the same type of category of player I have Brashard Smith in. I would have loved to have him at my 4-1 pick. So I was a little upset that he took him. and Devin Neal. Both of those guys were 4-1 targets for me. So I really like both of these picks. I would give both at least B pluses. The only maybe like you might have been able to get Brashard Smith at 310. Maybe is like my only quip,
Yeah,
but
but
you gotta get your guys. You gotta get your guys.
I got to get both my guys.
Yeah, I totally
One
get
of
it.
them's
Like
going to be an overdraft here, and I don't care because I love my guys.
I still think like once you get to, and this goes for pretty much all the rookie drafts we ever had. Once you get into the third round, I do think you're in take your guy range,
Yeah,
especially at 3-5. Like I think 3-1 to 3-5 usually. There's one or two guys that falls like a Jalen Newell.
usually we'll get like the quarterbacks falling, or like maybe like a
Tight
tight end was
end.
like a
Yep.
top 2 or 3 round guy that goes. Obviously, this year's a little different because we had so many tight ends go in day 1 and 2. But
Yeah. So I do think this like as it might be considered a reach in the grand scheme of things, but get your guy. And Kansas City, they don't have a back like this right now on their roster. So I think this is a nice little pick here and with some real upside in year one. So I'm on board for sure. Terrence Ferguson goes next to Justin Senior and the Bombers here
Turd
at 3-6.
two.
Turd part 2. Terrence Ferguson, kind of a weird tight end class this year where there was quite a few players above Ferguson in terms of like draft prospect rankings heading into the draft, but there wasn't anybody really outside of maybe like a Mason Taylor that just did everything really well outside of the top 2 guys.
I heard Daniel Jeremiah talking about he saw, I think at a workout, he saw Terrence Ferguson and Colston Lovin just like stretching next to each other, and he's like, I couldn't tell which one was which, and I don't know if that's an indictment on Loveland or
Yeah, I don't
like
know. That's an
he was
interesting one.
in on Terrence Ferguson.
I mean, they're both very similarly sized.
6'5", 247. Loveland's probably like 6'5",
Yeah, let's take a look.
250, probably.
I think he's in the 250s. Yeah, basically the same, 248. They're both long. They're both lean. If you watch them on tape, they don't have a lot of like girth and size to them. But they like if you told me which one's going to be the better blocker, I'm taking Ferguson all the way around. I think he's going to be on the field a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a real chance he's just going to be better than Higbee immediately. He has way more juice than Higbee does.
Yep.
I just think he's a good tight end prospect. Like there's not, like to me, like I could see a world like where he's like Dalton Schultz, like one of those kind of guys.
Yeah, low end tight end 1, like tight end like 8 to 14 range, like after maybe like starting like next year, but like
yeah, that's the problem with these tight ends. You do have to usually wait to see most second and third round tight ends to see how they pan out. I would bet on Ferguson though. Like he's a guy. I had him
for sure.
Yeah, I had him ranked significantly higher than Mason Taylor, which ended up happening. Yeah, I think Taylor needs more work.
You're talking about pre-draft or after the draft?
After the draft.
Oh,
after the draft.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's the thing: the Jets suck, and I don't trust them.
But they could be good.
But they won't. History says they won't. So I'm not taking them.
They actually have coaching now.
Now it's very hard to bet against the son of Jason Taylor. So I'll say that.
When we get to Mason Taylor, I'll fight for him. We can.
Okay, cool. Like I had him lower than a couple other guys, but we'll get there. So yeah, I like this pick here. I think you could have maybe argued that he got slightly overdrafted here, perhaps, but I don't think it's a bad pick.
Got to get your Kyle Pitts replacement after this year. So
he's got Hawk there. He's still got Hawk.
I know.
Well, yeah, tight end 2. I guess you're tight end 2 guy. Yeah. All right, let's go to our next pick here. Vince takes Isaac Tesla from Duval.
Just the
That's actually
absolute heat check.
The Claw.
I just watched that with Sloan the other day.
Oh, really? It's a great one. It's a classic. Certified hood banger.
Yeah.
What do we think about this? This was a crazy pick.
An absolute heat check by the fucking Lions. Just trading multiple.
The Lions don't give a fuck. They don't care.
He was like a mid to late day 3 guy. I thought all the way. So
yep.
I
Sean,
We'll
you want
see
a
how it
real
goes.
hot take?
He's a freak athlete though, so I
I
get
liked
that.
Andrew Armstrong better than he than him. I
Yeah,
liked Andrew
I do like
Armstrong.
Andrew Armstrong. He went. Where did he sign as a
He signed with the
UDFA?
Dolphins.
I like that. I like
I
that a
do. I
lot.
really do. Yeah, the Dolphins had my favorite undrafted free agent class. We'll get to that later, but
Oh, well, you'll know who my favorite UDFA was when we get to my
I
pick.
guess yeah, we're getting right here at 7:10. But yeah, Tisla, like they traded 2/3 on top of the third that they. I mean, like
Yeah, one of
it's
them was their comp pick that they're going to get for the Jets hiring a black head coach.
is that really what it was?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wait, is it just minority head coaches or
yeah.
is it all of them?
No, if you hire a minority
I
coach
didn't know that.
for the
Wow,
team, you get a
interesting.
third round comp pick.
I mean, hey, that's pretty impressive for them. It's great for them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess if you trade that away, so was it 2/3 and something else, or is that it?
it was their third and then two future thirds to move up. And
Jeez, 3/3.
I'm pretty sure.
3/3 for Isaac Tisla is absolutely insane. I'll be honest.
So
Like that's a crazy bad
I
pick.
will I will throw this out there and do with it with what you will. The director of scouting for the Rams when they took Cooper Cup was Brad Holmes.
Oh wow. All right. So maybe this is their guy.
So there you go. You can
I mean,
do
he's
whatever you want.
never had more than 500 yards in college.
He did. He just had it at a non-Division One school.
Yeah, I mean,
He put up stupid ass numbers at whatever the oh god what was the
it said Fayetteville. He never had. Well, Fayetteville is Arkansas, but
oh, damn what was
they
hold
don't
on.
list it on here.
I've got don't worry, I've got the numbers.
That like while you're looking up the numbers, this guy tested like a complete freak of nature.
I've got those numbers too. Hold on, let's see. I gotta go to the beast and pull it up though. Where was he? He was Dan Brugler's 24th receiver.
24th receiver. He was picked at 70 overall. Oh,
All right. So 603.5, 214, 10-inch hands, by the way. Holy shit.
I mean, the guy is a freak. There's no doubt about it.
4.43 at 6'3", 214 is stupid.
Almost a 40-inch vertical, Sean.
40-inch vert, almost 11-foot box.
4.05 short shuttle.
Jesus Christ, and his three cone was 6.85.
Like, dude, Bill Belichick would have.
I get it now.
Bill Belichick would have taken him in the first.
Honestly, I'm fine with it.
Like, no, I'm definitely not fine with 3/3. That's just not. They just did not do it right.
Hillsdale College is where he went.
Hillsdale, that's right. There was another receiver recently that went to Hillsdale.
This
is gonna kill me.
The year before he transferred to Arkansas, he had 1,300 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns there. So like,
wow,
there you go. Not a breakout because he wasn't on a real team. But
I need to find out who this other Hillsdale player was that came out recently.
But yeah,
Jared Veldier, Nate Johnson, and Andre Holmes. Wow.
I was really hoping that he would, like, as a day 3 guy, I would just get him in one of the 5th, 6th, or 7th.
Yeah, I was looking for him at a waiver draft spot for sure.
Yeah, he would have been a fun pick, but damn, going 3rd round is nuts.
I mean, that's the thing for Vince's pick here. Like, I'm not gonna say anything bad about it because the guy got the capital.
I think it's a good pick. I think it's definitely worth it.
Like the upside is there.
It's a great landing spot. Like, Detroit just makes good players right now.
You just don't want to bet against the Lions right now.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes with the new coordinators. But like, Dan Campbell is perfectly fine. Like, I think people forget like he is also a very good coach and a good offensive coach.
Yeah, and I think another piece of this too is that I was listening to something recently. It's like saying he was like probably one of the best blocking receivers in the draft. And of course, Dan Campbell's going to love that. So
he is also new to the position because he was a quarterback for a wing T offense in high school.
Yeah, I mean this guy is just like
he knows how to run
one of a kind type players here.
Yeah.
So I mean, like as much as I don't like the draft compensation they gave up, like I do appreciate them shooting their shot here. Like this is a fun one, and it's going to be a fun one to follow because. I think we're going into year 3 or 4 of the Jameson Williams experience. Like that, could easily just be let him walk situation, and you could have your starter right here. So,
I love him playing like under Tim Patrick this year too.
oh
I
yeah,
think
just
that's
learn.
pretty good.
My biggest problem with him on tape is just he did not beat press ever.
Yeah, he's a slot,
Yeah,
which is a problem because
you got to beat press.
they've got the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, like, but if anything, that's great for him to learn behind these guys because I mean
True.
he's gonna get a chance. I just don't think you should take this guy
Yeah.
expecting any level of production in year one. Like there's just
Do you
he's
think
gonna be like a learning
Brad
system
Holmes
here.
was like, "What if we had Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like bigger
It's like, what if we did it better and
and
bigger?
white?"
I mean, he's just not. He's not a guy I'm gonna bet against. We'll put it that way. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't bet against the Lions right now. I love the pick at 3-7. I thought it was great value. Just when you get a guy that has this much invested in him, you got to take him. So I'm on board with it for sure. Next pick, we have Dan Schwartz and the Philadelphia Plague taking Jackson Dart with their first selection of this draft. Yeah, you're bleeding. I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be a good NFL quarterback. I'll be honest with you.
I didn't, and then I watched the Gruden video, and I was definitely sure he wasn't going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Not good. There's no snap count. It's a clap. It's just like all these other college quarterbacks. I don't believe in it.
So you're just a clapper.
You're just a clapper. That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying to you.
That's what I'm saying to you. So
he played in such a. It's like talking about Tennessee players that come into the NFL. Like they played such a stupid offense to try and compare it to NFL standards. That like you have to learn basically how to play a new sport coming into the NFL. Even more so, like even worse than it is like for a normal college quarterback.
Yeah, like nowadays it's a different game. It's a different game, college to the NFL. Like there's no if he ended up in a West Coast scheme like with Sean Payton with all the verbiage he had, like this would be an absolute nightmare.
Oh, Payton would hate this guy.
It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. So I don't love the player here, and frankly, for Dan, who absolutely needs running backs if he's not truly rebuilding at this point, I don't like taking a quarterback here either.
I think this draft just signals that like he's open for business, but he
made it clear before the draft, with the DK Metcalf, trade, rumors or whatever, he put him on the block. Like, I think it's pretty clear that he wants at least a retool. Now the question is, how much are we trading? If we're getting rid of Justin Jefferson, we got to go all the way in. Like, I don't know where we're at yet, and I still don't think he even knows where he's at yet. But if we are going full rebuild, I don't hate this as much. But if we're retooling and still trying to do something this year, I don't know why you wouldn't just take any of these running backs really in this next tier with the hopes that, maybe an injury happens, or maybe there's some upside with a guy we'll talk about with Dylan Sampson or Woody Marks, maybe. Like that I would feel better about that than taking a quarterback that, frankly, I don't really believe in.
If he's not blowing his team up, this pick to me is a D. I think that's the lowest grade.
It changes with what happens with trades for sure. Yes.
Yeah. If you move Josh Allen in a trade, I get it so much more. But yeah, if he's really trying to like just kind of get the band back together one more time, then I really struggle with this pick.
Yeah, I think this is a wait and see pick for a grade, but like you said, I couldn't give it anything more than a D, and the D is only because he got first round draft capital. That's literally it. I can't think of another reason.
Yeah. Can I take a quick bathroom break before?
Let's do a bathroom break. We can go to commercial. We can play the fire sale video again.
It's a nice elevator music going for like 90 seconds.
We got to get that fire sale video back up here, baby. It's time. Go to the bathroom yet. I can do some. Was it the radio discussion here? So for those that are joining, we got 3 people online, which is cool. Thanks for watching live. We are still going to get to the schedule release where we're motoring through these picks. I've had a lot of fun talking about the picks now that I can kind of give my opinions and thoughts or whatever. So this has been fun, but we are going to get to the schedule release here in a little bit. Who's going to play the Muskrats twice? That's everybody's question. So I'm looking forward to that, but this has been a very good draft. I think the slow draft was pretty successful. It took a little bit longer than I thought. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's been pretty good. so we might have to use this in the future if scheduling gets challenging again. But would love to get some sort of winter meetings at some point with all the group on Discord so we can talk and converse amongst each other. But been a really good draft so far. And if you're in the Galactic League, we have that draft coming up this weekend, so that'll be fun as well. Man, there's been some fun trades to talk about. I think we might have to have a whole post-draft podcast to talk about the trades, to talk about the way some of the teams have changed, specifically the Muskrats. There's a lot of content coming up here, so I think they'll be very busy here at the PHU Dynasty headquarters with all kinds of stuff to talk about. So I'll keep moving along with these these picks here. I'm going to start talking about Jarquez Hunter here, which was Adam Thibodeau and the Cheese Fries' third-round selection. I think Hunter was a really interesting prospect. I think he's more of a two-down banger. Really ran hard. I mean, if you watch him run, he is a long-legged runner that hits the hole hard. And frankly, like, I don't really know what the Rams are doing. I feel like the Rams are the new Seahawks when it comes to running backs. Even the Seahawks took Damian Martinez this year, Sean. They love taking running backs.
They do,
But Hunter doesn't feel like too different of a back than the other guys they have on the roster already.
Bigger.
A little bigger. And I did listen to this post-draft press conference because I always like listening to Les Snead and Sean McVay talk about the picks because they're just so unique when they evaluate players. They said that
was Les Snead still just rock hard from ripping off the Falcons, or
we can have a whole podcast just on that trade, Sean. That trade sucked.
I don't know if it was that or people still giving the Falcons a good draft grade after that.
I saw somebody give him an A, and I was like, "This is the most."
It was Trevor. Fucking
yeah, it was Trevor. Yeah, I think I saw that. I was like, I don't know if I could do that, man. That's tough. That's a tough grade. But Hunter, like, I did hear in that press conference that they viewed him as a explosive runner, which is really not something that I've heard them say about any of the other backs they've drafted recently. So, like,
Hunter was 6th in the country in runs of 10 or more yards last year.
And you could see it on tape, like, how he got those runs where, like, he's got a second gear that a lot of other guys at his size don't really have. I think 204 seems light.
He plays at least 10 pounds.
He must have cut for the combine or something because he's not that size to me at least. But he's a very interesting player, and I know Charlie really liked him pre-draft on his big board, but he was taken 117th overall. So, even though they already have Corum, Kyron Williams there, Kyron Williams, it kind of feels like he's going to be a one contract guy at this point. That's at least the vibes I'm getting, Sean.
They're negotiating with him. Like, it's not like they're just like saying peace out. Like, they're like talking contract. It's just a matter of like what they offer and if he's into it.
Yeah, to me, like, I don't think they're going to go and overspend for Kyron Williams with these other guys they have on the roster.
Yeah, the Rams are definitely like a depreciate running back, linebacker, and safety kind of team.
Yeah, they basically negotiated for themselves by making these picks in a way. Like, they said, okay, if you want to walk, we got these other guys that can do this too. So,
I lied. This is my favorite UDFA team because they picked up Willie Lampkin.
Oh, Willie Lampkin, 270-pound guard. There's a reason he went undrafted. He's just not big enough. But he could really work out.
If you're just going off of tape, I think it was like top 5 guard tape in the class.
The guy moves people, so I don't know how he does it.
It's so good.
I don't know how he does it, Sean, but he certainly makes it work. But anywho, this Jarquez Hunter pick, I like the pick. I think there is some legitimate upside here. If he is the most explosive back in this room, like, they might find ways to get him on the field. He's a good guy to have in case of the Kyron Williams departure. So I'm all good with this pick here at 3-9. I like that one a lot. Sean, we're getting to Torrey Horton here, who both of us, unfortunately, we liked a lot of the same players this year, Sean. So it made it tough for me.
Our group think really from playing Rivals and talking draft kind of.
I think it kind of molded its way into this. But man, I watched Torrey Horton, Sean. It was actually early in the year. I was watching him back in September when the Colorado State Rams played Travis Hunter and the Buffaloes, because that was like a big game early in the season.
Yep.
And I came away, I was like, dude, Torrey Horton is this offense. Like there's nobody on this team that can do anything other than Torrey Horton. And he's
Guy's
always
really good.
open.
Yep.
Guy's always open. He gets separation. To me, he is very, very similar to, like, I think he's what people wanted Troy Franklin to be last year. Like, he's
Oh,
better over the middle of the field. He's stronger hands. He runs better routes.
I hear Robbie Anderson a lot. Robbie Chosen, whatever
I
you
think
want.
it's just like whenever you see these like top heavy, skinny legged receivers,
Mhm.
that's like the obvious like comp is Robbie Anderson because there's just like nobody else really like him. But like Troy Franklin was kind of the same comp last year. Like everybody kind of said the same thing. Um, I just believe in him, and I also have a huge soft spot for Colorado State receivers for some reason. Like Preston Williams is like one of my all-time favorite Pacific Ocean sleepers. But it's and Michael Gallup was another one I liked a lot too from Colorado State. So um, I I think this is a really sneaky pick that I think he could be a starter year one if all the cards go the right way.
So he's like the only pure outside guy.
He is
That
an outside guy. That's
Yeah, I
important. Yeah.
mean, JSN is obviously going to be the number one in targets on this team.
Right.
Me personally, I think Cooper Kupp is toast. I think he's done. But
Yeah.
and
That's
then
tough.
and then it's MVS, which in fairness to MVS, he played for Clint Kubiak last year in New Orleans, so he's got familiarity, and
He's going to be on the field.
he'll probably start the year. But
Yeah.
going to 3 receivers, like you're telling
Jake
me all year,
Bobo?
you told me all year Cooper Kupp is going to move to the outside, or they're going to move JSN to the outside. I just don't see it, man. I think Horton's got a great opportunity to get on the field, even for his draft capital.
I think he's going to play at some capacity this year. I mean, they're a team that likes to play veterans. I've noticed over the years, but it's a different regime now. So I think there's a really good shot he's going to play. So I love the pick for you.
I think he was a locked in day 2 guy without the injury.
Yeah, the injury sucked because I think he was a 3rd round pick in the NFL draft. So,
and
that
he still came back and ran to the combine, ran a 4.41.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think he was only a few months removed from that injury, basically. So, because he got hurt at the end of the year. So yeah, that's pretty wild. I would have considered him very highly here at 4-1 for my next pick. So another snipe job on me here. Next pick for me was Dylan Sampson here at 4-1. I got this trade. I think I traded 2/4 in future drafts to get this one from Scavelli. And I think Dylan Sampson's a really good back. I think that's just what this came down to. He's kind of the lightning to the Judkins thunder, I think. And I think there's a real chance that he gets, I don't want to say significant touches, but he's going to touch the ball this year for sure. He's a really young player. If you look at his numbers, the guy just absolutely cooked SEC defenses as a really young prospect. Got to learn behind Jalen Wright last year, outproduced him in terms of overall yardage this year from year to year. The only thing I don't think he's very good at right now is pass protection, which maybe he can get better at that.
I think he might be the worst running back in this class in pass pro.
It's not that far off to say that. I don't think he's good at it right now, which makes me a little worrisome for his 3rd down potential. That being said, I thought he was one of the best interior runners in the class. Pre-draft, I really thought he was like a top 5-6 back. Honestly, I liked him a lot. I liked him significantly more than I like Harvey, for example, pre-draft. That being said, the draft capital isn't terrible, 4th round, but the fact that they took Judkins really killed his dynasty appeal. Because if he had gone to a good situation, like he would have been arguably a 1st round pick, in my opinion. So at 4-1 here, I'm going to take to me, he's the handcuff to Judkins if in case anything happens there. But I also think he might have some standalone value in terms of the fact that I think he has a lot more juice in the tank than Judkins does. So I think there's a world where they can both coexist. And at 4-1, I'll take the upside play just on talent alone and he was high on my board.
Yeah, there's no way this isn't a great pick, like value wise. He, for me, I wasn't as high on him coming in. I just think size issues when you're not really that great of a receiver out of the backfield.
Hmm.
I usually have a little bit of a problem with. I think like you got to at least be serviceable. I don't know if he's quite there as far as serviceable in the receiving game. I think he's got
I don't think he's there. I mean, he hasn't really showed much of it. They didn't use him like that.
yeah. I mean, and I don't know. For me, it's like if he's not getting the explosive play, like I do worry about like vision stuff with him for me. So but Jesus, when he goes, he like and one of the few things that usually translates well going into the NFL is touchdown production for running
Hmm.
backs, and he obviously had that. Like I think was he
Yeah,
20 plus last year?
it's 22. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think there was even a when Tibbs and Alex and I were in San Diego, we were watching a some highlights or whatever of I think it was a Tennessee game, and he just like, dude, the guy's just constantly producing. Like every time you look at the bottom line on ESPN, it was 22 carries for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns or some shit. Like the guy was just doing stuff in the SEC, and I think it's hard to find guys like that. And the fact that also he's only 20 years old at the end, he's in the
yeah,
Braylon Allen category
yep.
in terms of age. So like at the end of his contract, he'll still be 24. He still might actually have a second opportunity somewhere else, even if it doesn't work out in Cleveland. I just like the pick here, 4-1. So I thought about actually the next guy on our list here too, Pat Bryant here to Vince at 4-2. I really considered this against Samson because I was a big Pat Bryant guy pre-draft, like before this whole third round shit happened. Like I just like him, and he is in a long list of Armadillo favorite receivers that they're not big, they're not huge,
They're
they're
not
not
fast.
they're not fast, but they run routes, Sean. We love these guys. The Jarvis
Especially
Landrys,
receivers.
the Tyler Johnsons. There's one of these guys, Sean, in every single draft. And in this draft, there's two of them, Sean. The other one is picked at 7-1, Richard White III, Ricky White III, another guy that
Elite special teamer.
just monstrous special
That's
teamer.
right.
Like these guys are better NFL guys than fantasy guys, but they just hold a place in my heart for some reason. I don't know why. I just love the route running ability. They don't separate that great, but they just find a way to get open at times. And they usually end up being like wide receiver fours for their team. Now, in this case, this pick was a big shocker to me because as much as I loved Pat Bryan, as opposed to other people, to take him in the third round was actually crazy. Like I just could not believe that pick at the time because when that name came across the screen, I was like, they took Pat Bryant in the third? That's crazy business. But this is a team that does not give a shit about consensus value. They don't care. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be an interesting, especially with the comments here that you see on screen. He got comped to Michael Thomas by Sean Payton in this interview after the press conference. So like,
Spicy.
I don't see that either. Like, I mean, I mean, he's fine.
Yeah.
But like, if he hits that mark, I mean, geez, what a steal here it is for Vince at 4-2. But like, this team does have an opening at receiver. Like I think with this draft capital, Marvin Mims is not a prototype outside receiver. He's not going to be. He's more of a gadgety kind of guy. So like, I feel like they need more of a steady Eddie prospect here outside of Cortland Sutton. So why not go for Pat Bryant? I guess. I mean, in the third round, I like I said, I probably had 10 other guys that I would put ahead of him in this draft at receiver. But you can't argue with the draft capital.
Yeah,
Really
he
good
just
value
feels
here.
like he's gonna just replace Devon Vele basically in this offense after last year. It feels like
It makes sense to
that's
me. I mean, to me, like he's very similar to Tim Patrick in terms of just like how he plays. So if he ends up being Tim Patrick, like that's kind of what they already had. I mean,
Tim Patrick had a little more juice, at least from watching. But
yeah, like on tape, I could see that. But like size wise, role wise, I feel like
yeah,
that's kind of where you would play him. This is just a really like this whole draft by the Broncos was so weird. Just guys drafted significantly higher than I thought they were going to get drafted. So
yep.
that being said, Vince has done a very good job, I think, in terms of these first 4 picks, the first one obviously felt like a bit of an obvious pick. Second one getting great value on Trey Harris with upside, and then both of these guys, Tesla and Pat Bryant, both were extremely overdrafted by consensus, but they have the draft capital that you can believe in them and hold on to them
They're
at
going to
least
get
for
an
a few
opportunity.
years. There's no doubt they're going to be on the field at some point. So I like that.
Yeah, it just comes back to like, if I'm Vince in that spot and I'm like, I'm taking a receiver, I agree with every pick that he's taken. It's just,
Sure.
are we taking the best player on the board, or am I taking the best receiver, and like making that choice within it? And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'll be curious to see if like if his depth gets challenged a little bit at running back this year. Like, are we looking back and saying, well, shit, maybe I could have taken somebody here? Like that's
Yeah.
and that's all
I
I
think
got
it's
on
just
that
hard
one.
because it's so deep at running back in this draft. Like
Right.
to me,
Yeah.
like if you have all of your picks and an extra one like he does, like I personally like would like to take a shot on one of those guys maybe, but I also think that all the guys that he got, opportunity wise, like you mentioned, are going to be on the field. Like these are guys that like you can at least say like, oh, these guys could at least end up as a flex potentially at some point in the future, and have some belief in them. So I think there's upside here for sure with all these guys. Let's go to our next one. Jalen Milroe here to James at 4-3. I think this one, this is a nice sneaky one, Sean. Like I would have probably even taken Milroe ahead of Dart, honestly.
Makes a lot more sense when you trade after you trade for Sam Darnold too.
Of
So
course. Yeah. I think it was a well, I mean, as much as those names don't look nice on paper, like James mentioned, it's, you get the whole room at least. So that's good. And you have options. And I think Milroe, like if you're just looking at the profile, the type of guy coming out of college, the
is he
draft
the
capital,
best athlete in the entire draft class? Like the
I
NFL
I think
draft
I
class?
think he kind of is. Like I don't know what RAS score he has
Right
at,
there.
but like he's not. I mean, he ran a 4.3. I mean, there's some reason to believe that like there's some Jalen Hurts here. Like there's not like I don't think I would put him at this maybe even the same category like coming out, because I think Hurts was a lot more accomplished in terms of like what he did in college. But
Mhm.
I mean, I think there's some reason to believe that you could get a potential, great value version of that maybe, or maybe even a little more than that, because there's no way that this guy is just not gonna see the field. So, I mean, he's
Yeah,
gonna play at some
he'll get
point.
packages for sure.
So I think at the very least, he's gonna be a usable asset at some point, and he has a lot of upside. So I like that pick. Um, let's keep moving here. So we'll do the 4 rounds, and then we'll try to group up and pick some specific fifth, sixth, seventh round guys we like value wise. Next pickup on the list, we have Mason Taylor to the Dan Schwartz led Philadelphia Plague here at 4-4. I guess here's our Mason Taylor conversation. So I just I like Mason Taylor on tape. I thought he was solid. He had some really good receiving games, some really impressive catches. I think he can block relatively well, at least for how young he is. He's getting better at that. Um, I just hate the fact that he's on the Jets, Sean. I just really don't like it.
That just doesn't bother me because it's not the Jets from last year or the year before.
It's just the Jets for 50 years, Sean. It's
If
just
you're bringing over a scheme that's going to be reminiscent of what the Lions were trying to do last year, that means tight ends are going to be involved. He's a quality tight end coming to the NFL. I don't think he does anything amazingly. I don't think he does anything below average either.
do you think
And
he's got upside?
frankly, there's only one player on this team that I would guarantee is going to out target him this
Yeah, I
next
mean it's Garrett Wilson basically. So
year. There's nobody else there.
I mean it's
So
yeah,
you're
it's
telling me
there's
he's got good draft
Malachi
capital.
Corley.
So you're telling me he's got good draft capital
You
and
just
he's
keep
got.
talking.
I'm not even going to acknowledge that. I'm going to shit
That's
on that.
hilarious.
Good draft capital and good opportunity. Like I, if he outproduced either of those guys that went in the second round, it wouldn't shock me this year.
Wow. Okay. Um, yeah. I mean, like I like I said, I like the player. I definitely think he's got upside. He's very young. Um, I just don't see a great. I just like it's the quarterback combined with the Jets. They don't have the quarterback.
And with Fields, he did target Cole Kmet
That's
quite a
true.
bit
That first
in
year he did.
Chicago.
You are right. Um, I don't know. I just like I left every time I watched him, and the Capital was pretty good actually for him. But I just like he's not a player I'm like overly excited about. I guess is my thing. Like I don't know if I see like elite upside. I mean, of course we're talking about the fourth round here, but like I would have taken Arroyo ahead of him because I see more athletic traits, and I could see a route for him to be more of an involved receiver.
Yeah, Arroyo's just not a guy that I'm really into. Arroyo probably I would have like pre-draft Arroyo I would have had behind probably all the guys that have already gotten ahead of him and probably Fannin too. So
Interesting. Yeah, I was higher on him than you then. We'll get to that in a couple seconds here. Next up, we got Woody Marks, which went to the Bombers here at 4-5. I like this pick a lot because he does have Joe Mixon.
yep.
You're basically drafting your, handcuff essentially at this point because I don't think many people believe in Damian Pierce at this point.
I think immediately just because of the draft capital they pumped into him with the trade, like I think he just immediately is the third down back ahead of Agumbawale.
Yeah, they gave up a
Big
fifth
role
and a 26th third to get up and get him.
in
So
the fourth round. So
right, in the fourth. So that should tell you what they think about him. Also, he's an excellent receiver, which is
mhm.
something that they don't really have on this team outside of Joe Mixon. So, and Mixon doesn't do that really much anymore. So, I think this is a really good pick for the Bombers who desperately need more running back depth, and this is a very good handcuff pick. So I have no problem with this one at all. Um, moving on to your next pick here, Sean. What I thought was a very good value to get Alec Iomanner here in
Yeah,
the fourth, sixth slot. I think the draft capital definitely hurt his value in dynasty drafts, but the player, he's got a ton of upside if he can stay healthy. That's the key. And frankly, I don't think there's really anybody that's going to start for them other than him. Like he feels
it's
like
a
the
lot of the
starter.
Torrey Horton conversation where like they don't have an
No,
extra receiver on this team outside of
no.
unless they're going to start Tyler Lockett on the outside. Like I don't know about that. So I like Iomanner quite a bit. Like I just think like he I want to say he played like in when he moved to the US, he only ended up playing like 6 games of high school football until he went to Stanford
Yeah, I think
because of
it was
COVID.
something like that.
Like the guy hasn't played. Like he hasn't
And he's
played
been hurt so much he hardly played any games after that.
and he absolutely dunked on Travis Hunter.
Sure didn't. He had a huge. If you have a chance and you haven't seen it yet, go find the YouTube clip of him, the cut up of him against Colorado, and that game was just like the actual true. Like you're not even exaggerating. He did dunk on Travis Hunter like
Dunked
big
on him.
time. Yeah, he's a fun
Um,
player to watch on tape.
and just on an absolutely terrible team.
Yeah, Stanford
Just
sucked. They
god
were awful.
awful. He was like what you were saying with I can't remember who you're talking about.
Probably Torrey
Horton.
Horton.
It was Horton earlier where he was the entire offense. Iron Manor was the entire offense. And he definitely showed like signs of like he was trying to carry an offense because his hands really let him down quite a bit.
Whoa! There's a trade, a live trade on the podcast. Oh my God, Josh Allen got traded.
Scared the shit out of me.
Oh,
You got 2 firsts.
2 firsts
Holy
from Adam
shit.
Thibodeau and the cheese fries. This was 25 minutes ago. I was so lost in the sauce here, I didn't even notice. Oh,
Wow.
Jesus. Oh, my science.
Jesus Christ.
2 firsts for Josh Allen. What a trade. What a banger on the podcast, live on the podcast. We haven't had one of those in years.
Doesn't even feel like we're 3 hours into this podcast anymore.
I know.
Holy shit.
2 hours and 53 minutes
I
in, and
can't
now it feels like a
believe
whole new podcast.
I can't believe any quarterback got 2 first-round picks in our league. That's surprising.
I mean, I know that Tibbs was knocking on my door for Jalen Hurts, and if he offered 2 firsts, I definitely would have gave him up for 2 firsts. But I don't think I ever got that far. Yeah,
Well,
that's a hell of a trade. That is crazy. That is crazy. Great trade. Really fun trade for the podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
this makes Tibbs a extremely scary team for next year.
I'm in danger.
I yeah, I mean, like now, I think that's pretty obviously
Wow,
for me he's the favorite. That's a huge deal.
my goodness.
Wow, I'm flabbergasted. It makes this Alec Manor pick feel like nothing at this point.
Hey.
Crazy trade. Thanks for doing that while we're on the podcast here. That was kind of fun. Yeah, I mean this is a huge deal for the Tibbs and the cheese fries. I mean, this was already a loaded roster. There was only real one weakness on this roster, maybe outside of tight end. If you believe in Mark Andrews this year, I'm not sure, but man, what a deal! And that's gonna put him in a great position to win it all this year. And for Dan to get 2 firsts out of this, we now know the direction of this team. I'm gonna go right to the phone to talk about Justin Jefferson. So I feel like that is a crazy trade that's gonna change the landscape of the league here.
That's funny. Right to Justin Jefferson.
Straight to Justin Jefferson. I feel like there's gonna be at least a couple.
First round pick, Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Jefferson, take my pick from me, Mr. Jefferson. All right, let's keep this thing rolling. We got Elijah Roy. We talked a little bit about him. I'm high on him. There's just not many tight ends that I ever get to see that move like him. And he's actually got a bit of size on him too. Like he plays like, to me, he's like an oversized version of like Evan Ingram. Like he's like a bulky Evan Ingram.
The Seahawks have talked about him playing just X receiver. Also,
like, I mean, realistically, he's maybe like an extra 10 pounds on Mike Evans. Like they're not that different in terms of body type.
I just really wish there was more production for a guy that really just.
Yeah, I agree.
If he was more of like a well-rounded tight end, the lack of production wouldn't bother me. But like he is a detached receiving tight end in the NFL.
Yes, dude, elite number. He got number 18. Elite, just elite number. I love it. He's a guy that just when I watch him play, especially the Senior Bowl, he was cooking everybody in the open field. His route running is special for tight ends. And I think if they have a plan for him, which I hope they do because they took him at 50 overall, I can get behind this. I think there's real upside here. My only question with him is health. He just can't. He has not been healthy. He was banged up. He had a knee issue. I don't even think he was able to run any of the stuff at the combine because of the injury. So like, we really don't know how fast he is. But man, I liked so much of what I saw from him as a receiver, and I feel so similar to watching him as I did when I watched Evan Ingram when he came out. It's just he's a lot bulkier. He looks much more top heavy than Evan Ingram is a little bit slender. So this landing spot is kind of an interesting one because, like you said, like earlier, there's not a whole lot of other options in this passing game right now that are proven at least, other than maybe Cooper Kupp. And like there's going to be targets for people to go around here. So at some point, I think he'll have a good shot to show off his case.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Noah Fant is actually going to be on this team either.
There's no doubt that Elijah Arroyo is better right now than he is. So
him and AJ Barner, who almost play two different positions. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not. He's just not even. He's not even a thought.
In a Kubiak system, where you're probably rolling out with two tight ends anyway. Like,
I mean, there's no reason in a Kubiak system that he's not at least the Juwan Johnson. Like, he's got to be the move Joker tight end that they're looking for here. So I like him, and I thought this was really good value. I would have taken him much higher in the fourth personally. I love the draft capital too. I mean, 50 overall is great capital. Moving on to Alex Morales' next pick, and let's see.
Four position.
I'm looking at. We got some chats flowing through here on the sleeper chat. Some we'll get to that in a minute here, but we'll keep going to Alex Morales's 4-8 here. It's Trevor Etienne, basically the third back right now on Carolina. I got to be honest, Sean, this was a player that I wasn't targeting. I'll be honest with you. And I have the Carolina backfield, and I really didn't even want him.
I don't
feel good about him.
Yeah,
I don't feel good.
I think he's carrying it's almost like a Quinn Ewers thing where he's carrying a lot of like touted like recruiting like into the NFL. To me, I just
Yeah,
didn't see anything overly impressive coming out of school. So,
yeah. I mean, I think he's would be a great fit as just kind of like a true third down back.
mhm.
Like he's not. I would not trust him to carry any sort of heavy workload or anything like that. But if he ends up being like a third down back, which I think their thought process is that Jonathan Brooks was going to be that, and then without having him or any real threat on third down, because Rico Dowdle is not really that guy either, and Chuba is definitely not that guy. They just needed somebody to kind of compete for that role, probably. So, I mean, I'm just not a fan, and I don't like he's not one of the guys that I was targeting at the running back position pre-draft or post-draft. So,
Yeah.
but
I'm a lot more interested in the next guy, I
I
think.
agree. I think Jordan James, he was definitely on my board, obviously, be going to
Yep.
San Francisco. I was really hoping to get him or DJ Giddens at 5'2". That didn't happen, unfortunately. So another Dustin Snipe job there for me. But Jordan James, I think there's a realistic chance that he ends up playing the Jordan Mason role because he
Yeah.
is a good in between the tackles, powerful runner. And the way that John Lynch talked about him in the press conference was basically just that he was this banger back that they don't really have on the roster right now. The only concern that John Lynch even said in the press conference is that he doesn't think that he has a lot of experience in that zone system that Shanahan runs, so he's going to have to learn a little bit of how to do that. Um, but that being said, like I feel like he's a good back that should have gone higher in the NFL draft. Frankly, this is another classic guy that got pushed down, and he's also very young at 21 years old. So I really like this pick here late in the draft. I think in other years he might have been able to sneak into the third round. Of our rookie draft. So I like this pick a lot. What do you think about Jordan James?
I mean, I like him. I think he's gonna end up being the handcuff that you want just right away.
You
I
think he
thought,
just goes right past Garendo?
yeah, I think
I
so.
know you
Unless,
weren't a big Garendo guy,
yeah, I mean, Grendo is an athlete, but I don't know if he's much of a running back.
an
Jordan James
athlete
is a
for a
running
running
back
back.
to me.
He sure is.
So, I Jordan James was up there for me, like, but I think he's just a pure handcuff right now.
Yeah, like as it stands, he's a handcuff. And like I said, I was really hoping to get that handcuff at 5'2", but I actually considered him at 4'1", but the Dylan Sampson capital was and the
Right.
player was too
Yep.
good for me to take.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to the next one. Tyler Shuck, you know,
Next,
I mean, I
the
blew
fact
off
that somebody
virtual party poppers on the draft.
the fact that somebody in my column is Tyler Shuck is just offensive. Take him away.
He's not good. The good news for Bucks fans is that the Saints took him. So
Oh my
not
god,
only do we get
it's
to
true.
watch him twice a year suck, we get to watch him on the Saints suck. So it's even better.
You think
And
he's gonna start right away?
no, no, I don't. I think Rattler's going to start.
Whoa!
I think Rattler's going to start.
Wow. You don't think?
That's assuming that Derek Carr's maybe not on the team, I guess. But
Oh, okay.
um,
Yeah. I don't think they would. I think they would move on from Rattler because they got their guy in the second round. But
yeah, they could maybe just trade
I
him.
don't think. I think Rattler's a better quarterback than him. But
I'd put Rattler in the game right now, and I don't like Rattler either. I just don't like any of the players
I
they
like
got.
Rattler.
I'm not a Rattler guy, so like I don't like any of this. This is just not good for me. Like this is a bad
Yeah.
situation.
I don't. I don't think. Like I think Rattler's probably. It was probably a better prospect coming out than Shador was.
They're not that different.
They're not that different. Rattler's got a better arm.
They're not that different. They're not that. That's actually crazy to even think about. I didn't even think about that. Wow. Yeah, I think it would be a real conversation to be had about that. That's a good point. But anywho, all that to say, no, I don't know one person that likes Tyler Shook outside of Todd McShay
Tom McShay,
and the Saints apparently. Um,
Gilmore, baby.
he's literally Blaine Gabbert, like, but worse and 26. So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't
He
like it at all.
just panics.
That being said, for James, he needs the quarterback, so I kind of like can't knock him too much here. So
Two shots.
all right, so we're into the waiver portion of it here. We got DJ Giddens at 5'1", which I thought was a great 5-1 pick because I think he's going to be the handcuff to Taylor. I was really hoping for him at 5-2, so that kind of sucked.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was really pressing to get this draft moved on with, and I texted Dustin. And I was like, you know who I like?
You son of a bitch! You did this to me. You son
I was
of a
like,
bitch.
I think he's got a great upside. He's a real explosive back.
Oh, you're killing me.
He's like, I like him here too. I think I'll take it.
Oh my gosh, what an
I was
influencer!
like, he's not gonna get to me at 5'10" anyway.
Oh, he was never gonna get to you down there, but like I was hoping for him. So damn it. That's all right. I like Giddens heading into the draft a lot. I was a big supporter. The draft capital was good. Just the situation is he's stuck right now, which kind of stinks. Happened to a few backs this year. We'll get to a couple of them here, but next up was me at 5'2". I took Kyle Monangai. My thought process here was that if there is a non-zero chance that he ends up being the Montgomery, I'll try. So I'll give it a go. And if he sucks, I'll cut him, and it's no problem. So I think there's some level. They just don't have anybody on this roster. This running back room stinks. And I think Nick Chubb will end up there at the end of the day. But if he doesn't, I want to have the other option that for the ground and pound. So I'll go with Monangai here, and I feel pretty good about that.
How fast does Dan trade Nick Chubb if he ends up on?
I mean, judging by what we just saw, I think we're already making calls basically at this point. Next up we have 5'3" Ollie Gordon. This is a guy that I gotta tell you, Sean, I really loved him last year. I was all in on him last year.
Yeah, many guys in this class where if you just go off of the 23 tape, you're like,
it's very strange. Yeah, very, very strange. I mean, he was a Doak Walker winner, and he goes in the 6th round of the NFL draft. Doesn't even get in the top 4 of our rookie draft, which is crazy. Because I think if he had ended up in a better spot with higher capital, like he was an easy 2nd round pick in this draft. I think he does have character concerns. He had the DUI or whatever. And his punishment was that they were going to give him 300 carries. So that was an unbelievable Mike Gundy punishment. He ends up in Miami, so that's an interesting landing spot for a guy like him. So
he is a unique build on that team, so that could get him some kind of role on that team.
I think so. I don't know who I told. Maybe it was you the other night on Rivals, but I think his role is actually going to be a big 3rd down back. I think he's by far the best pass protector on this team outside of Alec Ingold, which I don't think you don't want to put him on the field because he doesn't offer anything in the receiving game. So at least Ollie Gordon gives you the size of a fullback, but also gives you something to work with out of the backfield. And he's a great pass protector. Like he kills people. He's one of the most fun ones to watch in the league or in the draft this year. So that being said, like there's a role that he could get maybe a short yardage back type role, goal line role. So I like this here at 5'3", and the upside is there because we saw him do it in 2023. I mean, won the Doak Walker Award, so like there's no doubt he's got talent. Next pick is Arian Smith for Alex Morales here at 5'4". Oh no, what's happening?
Dan put Nick Chubb on the trade block.
He must be listening live. Nick Chubb, there he goes. Boy, I love Nick Chubb so much. I am so sad that he's
I'll take him for the vibes. I don't even care if he doesn't end up.
I saw a video of him like squatting like 650 pounds last week. So maybe he's just a freak of nature. I don't know. Like I love the guy. I think he might be my favorite running back of like the last decade. I love him. He is so good. His vision is unbelievable. I'm all in on Nick Chubb.
You want to know a guy that we don't love?
Is it Arian Smith?
Arian Smith.
I gotta tell you, I think Alex's waiver draft was my least favorite.
It's brutal. It's just brutal.
I don't like coming here.
You want to talk about a guy that has a drop rate of over 20%? Let's talk about Arian Smith.
Well, here's awful. I like my receivers when they catch the ball. The only thing is, like, I watched him on some of the Gruden content this offseason, and the guy is such a freaking fluid athlete. Like, it is impressive, like, how he can get open and how explosive he is out of his cuts, but I don't know if he can catch, Sean, and that's a problem. So
I know that he can't catch.
I mean, the Jets, if anything, though, like, the Jets at least give him a chance to get on the field, but I'm not feeling good about it. Anywho, moving on, Harold Fannin to Scavelli here at 5'5". I thought this was really good value.
Yeah.
He's already gotten Njoku, I think, so he's kind of like the natural
This team
passing of
is
the
gonna
torch.
live in 12 personnel and just run the shit out of the ball and play
And I'm here
action.
for it. And Fannin, dude, Fannin is such an interesting prospect. Like, I don't remember a tight end like him in a long time. A 20-year-old tight end that
So,
basically,
Jesus.
yeah, he's very young, 6'3", 241. He's got to be the most weird moving tight end I've ever watched on film.
Yeah.
I think he like I kept coming back to it every time I saw him. This is a very like Isaiah Likely type player. I don't think he's got the same juice that he does, but like the way they used him, at Coastal Carolina is so similar.
He doesn't go down easy ever, which
Doesn't ever go
he's
down
tight end,
easy.
but still, he's
He just makes plays and he never drops
it's
passes.
nope.
Never ever drops passes. So like to me, like to get a guy like this at 5'5", like Scavelli did, where you already have Njoku as well, I believe, so he can kind of just have a natural guy. If an Njoku leaves, then he opens up the spot. Like I think it's a really good forward thinking pick here for Scavelli as usual. I really like it. Next up, we got Justin Senior, who went with the trio of receivers here. Dante Thornton, fourth round pick, I thought was massively overdrafted in the NFL draft, but
Agreed.
the NFL just absolutely loves these kind of
And
guys.
speed. That's it. That's all he got.
Big speed. I mean, he runs straight. He's an oversized Jalen Hyatt, essentially,
Yeah,
which is it
absolutely.
could work. But like, if here's the thing, is like I these kind of guys are the ones that like in a Pete Carroll offense, like I'll at least feel good knowing he might get the good coaching to be something at some point. Like he could be
Yeah, I mean, he fills a role for that team of like literally clear out and
just go deep.
sacrifice X receiver, just
Yeah, he's
let him
sacrificial
go,
lamb for sure.
just running
Absolutely.
nines all day. Yeah,
Yep, and somebody's got to do it. Next up, 5'7", Savion Williams. We've made it very clear that we are not big Savion Williams
I
supporters.
think he is probably gonna end up being a running back a la Cordero Patterson. So
It wouldn't surprise me. But once again, with basically the theme of this draft is let's take draft capital value. He was picked 87 overall, which I think was not a good pick by the Packers. But if you're looking for a guy to, at some point, they got to use him if you're going to take him that high.
yeah.
I get it here. This is the waiver draft, so it makes
All
sense.
right, let's clear out for you for 5'8".
All right, I'm gonna try not to spend too much time on this one. I absolutely love Taj Brooks. He was like one of my favorite backs pre-draft. I think he might be one of the best backs at in the class at making something out of nothing, lemons out of lemonade. This guy, lemonade out of lemon, whatever the hell this. I don't remember. We're 3 hours in. This guy is good. I think he's a really good player. I think he could pass block as good as anybody in the draft. He is big. He's thick. He's not going to get hurt. He was one of the best Texas Tech players I've watched over the last 8 years since I've been here. He's really good. I think he's going to be a great NFL back. The problem is, I think there is some level of competition in this backfield. You know, obviously with Chase Brown kind of being the guy at this point. The draft capital for Brooks was not that good. I think he was a 6th-round pick. I would have taken him significantly higher in the draft than a lot of these other backs that were taken. If Taj Brooks had ended up on the Cowboys or something, like I would have been so all in. I would have been disgustingly all in on Taj Brooks. I would have taken him probably in the 2nd round or something. So I just think he's a great back, and there is a world where I could see him being the direct handcuff pretty soon to Chase Brown and earning his own touches because he is so just reliable. He's a reliable back, and I think he's good. So that being said, I'll get off my soapbox. So I just want to get it out there.
I didn't love him as much, but because I don't know if anybody did, but yeah,
He's
I
just
mean,
not explosive. That's his only thing.
yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he's not fast,
He's
which
not fast. I just
he's
don't know
got a
many guys
ton
his
of.
size that move like him.
He's got a lot of tread.
I mean, that
fifth
boy,
year, fifth year senior. He's got
that boy's played some football.
he's there with 1,000 carries in college.
He's
That's
played some football. I mean,
yeah,
he's just consistently like every single year their best player, and there's just something special about like the idea that you give him the ball, you know you're gonna get 5 yards. Essentially, it's just unbelievable like how consistent he is. So I like him a lot. So great pick here, Dan. Then we got the trio of quarterbacks here, starting with Shadur Sanders. I think I would have taken Will Howard ahead of him for sure. Um, I don't feel strongly about Shadur Sanders at all, really.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he's starting at some point this year.
I think he could start. I just like even if he starts, I just don't see the upside.
I can tell you that Deshaun Watson at no point will be starting this year.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think you can easily just dump that off the board there. Yeah, Sanders. I don't feel. I don't think he should have been taken in the fifth, but I also don't think he should have been taken in the second. So I think he was like a third round, fourth round prospect in my eyes, and he's kind of just like a budget Teddy Bridgewater. So maybe he'll make something of himself there in Cleveland, but he's got to fight with Dylan Gabriel, which was another head scratcher. So
Yeah, that might have been one of the worst picks in the draft.
I
That
think it
was
was
tough.
arguably the worst, other than the Isaac Tesla trade up 3 firsts or whatever the hell, 3 thirds or whatever the hell that was awful. Let's go to a more fun pick, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I like the guy.
Same.
Like him. He's an older prospect, and he's definitely doesn't have as much tread on the tires as Taj Brooks does. But this
When you
guy's a
don't
real shot to play.
play like what did he play like a game last year?
He played one singular game this past year.
Yeah,
And
he's
but
kind of like a lost in the cracks kind of guy because of that. But
yeah, I think
I
he's
think
just
he's
like
a shot in the dark.
I think he would have been like in most other drafts, like this kind of guy would have gone in like the fifth or sixth. Like he is a
Mm.
good power back. He's not as that big as you'd like to see, but like I really like the way he runs in between the tackles. And this is a team that doesn't really have a lot of talent in the running back room right now. Like I mean, outside of Robinson, I mean, you got the ghost of Austin Eckler, and that's kind of like there's not a whole lot else on there. I mean, Chris Rodriguez is whatever. So I think he's got a real shot to actually like touch the ball. So that's kind of cool. Moving on, Ty Felton here to Dustin at 6'1". He got the draft
This is
capital. It's another
also
good.
might be one of the worst picks in the draft.
Yeah, that was a
At
bad
least
one. I had him
I don't
in.
mind him, but like I thought it was like a mid day 3 grade.
I think it also looks weird because he was 102 overall, so it was like one of those comp picks. So it really was a fourth
Mhm.
rounder. Like I had him in the fifth, so I think it was a fine pick. And in this point in the rookie draft, if you're getting a third round player in the sixth round, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, bad pick in the NFL draft.
Yes, NFL draft. Yes.
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna
really
eat
liked
shit
both
when
of
they
the
play them.
Maryland receivers this year. I thought Ty Felton was pretty cool as a prospect. Like I think there's actually like a real route where he ends up being, a usable player at times, kind of in that Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, I do. I have ultimate belief in this offense to get the most out of everybody. So
Oh, they gave him number 13 too, elite number. Elite numbers. That's huge. This is very important to me, Sean, at this point in the draft. If you got a number, I might go after you. I like it. All right, next up, I picked Phil Maffa here. I kind of I'm at this point in the draft, my thought process this year in the rookie draft is I'm going to take a bunch of running backs and hope
yeah,
for like if there's some injuries or some weird camp shakeout, then I'd like to be involved in that. So Phil Maffa might be the least special back I watched all year. He is literally just a shittier version of Taj Brooks, essentially. Like
might be a fullback in the NFL.
he could be at his size. He might just take the Hunter Lupke spot, but if they actually think he's a running back, and
Came in
I
at
don't,
239 at his pro day.
that's a thick boy.
Thick.
So let's see if he's number 37, Sean. That's brutal.
Oh, that's a
He might
fullback
not even
number.
make the team at
That's a
36.
fullback number. That's tough.
That's tough. All right. Well, we took a fullback at 6'2", guys.
That's like practice squad tight end number almost. Oh
That's
no.
37 is not good. That's not good. We don't like that. I can't think of one 37 in the
Like,
NFL that has been
like
good.
a long snapper number? What the who wears
Long
37?
snappers are usually like a good 46.
Yeah.
Like 45, 46. All right, going to a player I actually really like, Aronde Gadsden. I'm a fan.
Boy, we're in the fucking
And
weeds now.
I got to tell you something here, Sean. This is a direct Stone Smart replacement. This is a direct Stone Smart replacement. So I think he's actually going to have a role in this offense. It might be 200 yards, but there is a role for him. So I actually I really like this pick. You're bored by this pick.
Week 3, Justin Herbert throws down the field, and you're like, who the fuck is that?
Aronde Gadsden. I
There
like
you
the
go.
guy. Yeah, he's absolutely probably top 3 worst blockers I've ever seen ever on tape. But that's not what he's supposed to do. He's a converted receiver. So
Yeah.
So
900 yards, 7 touchdowns last year in Syracuse, by the way.
pretty good. I watched a lot of Syracuse with Cal McCord, so
Sure. Yeah.
like the guy, and I think it's a really good pick here. Actually, I think he could actually make your roster, which is cool at 6'3", um,
Mhm.
6'4", Kamir DK. Um, I I don't know.
Another guy that can't catch the ball, but
I
he runs a
he
deep
fast.
cross, and
Boy's fast.
literally that's the only route that he's probably above average at.
I did not like the selection for the Titans here. I thought this was an overdraft.
I could not
Um,
believe that he went ahead of Iron Manor.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Yep. Yeah, that's a bad one. I mean, when you put it like that, that's even worse. Yeah, he's just not a guy I was very excited about. I know he has some fans in the community. I know Brett Coleman really likes him. Um, I don't feel good about it. And frankly, this whole Titans receiving room, like I feel like it's going to be a wait and see kind of a situation. But I kind of understand taking a shot with this draft capital, here at this point in the draft and see if he can actually be something. But both of these guys I don't feel super great about. Moving on to this one. Actually, this is another sneaky one for Scavelli. Gunnar Helm could legitimately be the starting tight end at some point this year for this team. Like
Yeah.
there's a real chance that there's no other talent in this room. I mean, I'm still the world's only Josh Wiley supporter. But Chiga Conquo has not done shit. But Gunnar Helm is actually he's got upside. He's another guy, a younger prospect at 22. He's got the size. He can move a little bit too. His athleticism isn't all that great, but I
Led
think there's a
Texas in
chance.
receiving this last year, by the way.
I mean that means something to me. I mean the
Yeah.
SEC he was productive. So Scavelli, I like both of these picks by Scavelli. I think both of
Yeah.
these guys are good holds. At least for training camp. And then let's go to Justin Senior, Jalen Lane, who was once again another guy that was very overdrafted in my opinion. I thought he was literally a 6th or 7th round prospect. But to me, this guy is literally just the Diami Brown replacement, essentially, on this roster. I mean, you go fast, you go straight, hopefully you catch ball. That's basically where we're at with Jalen Lane. He might get a role, but there's going to be a lot of competition in this room. But a lottery ticket here at 6'6". And if you got thoughts on any of these guys, let me know. I'm just going to keep running here.
Jalen Lane tested really well. That probably is what
He
makes
sure didn't. He ran. He's you can see on tape. He moves.
yeah.
Like
6'7", 5", 3 cone. By the way, that's
hot.
elite.
That's
Yeah.
hot. Yeah, I think the problem with him was mostly just on film. He only did 2 or 3 things, and he was not a very versatile player. Anywho, he could get a role. Will Howard here at 6'7" to Vince. Could be the starter in Pittsburgh at this point. I don't know what the hell is going on in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's
Probably not.
probably not, but it's not it's a non-zero chance. He got a shot. I mean, I feel like
it's an
there's
easy
been a lot
cut.
of buzz on
Real
him.
quick.
Yeah, an easy cut. There's been a lot of buzz on Howard though recently. I feel like so. I don't know. Maybe teams are coming around to him. This is a good one. Restrepo here at 6'8". I like this because you put him on the roster at 6'8", and if training camp goes by and he's got the familiarity with Cam Ward, there's nothing else on this team really worth a damn at receiver at this point outside of Io Manor and DK Ridley. He could find a role as the Kyle Phillips of this team.
There goes Xavier Restrepo, 4 catches for 38 yards again.
There you go. And here's the thing is we're in round 6, Sean. It's kind of I'll take a guy with a chance to play at this point. That's kind of where we're at. Joe Flacco 6'9". I mean, no, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. Just trying to find a quarterback here. Let's talk about Ty Johnson, though. That's an interesting choice.
James Cook might be a shithead in the offseason, so I just gotta,
it's a nice insurance policy.
Play a little defense here.
A little State Farm action there.
As soon as James Cook is back on the field, we don't need to keep him. But we like Ty Johnson.
The thing is, I actually like him as a player. I really think he's a solid player. Great for a down back. Even going back, I liked him a lot back when he was on the Jets too, but it just never really worked out for him. Then we got Ricky White. Oh my God, I love Ricky White. I would have loved to take him at 7'1". I would have loved to take him at 7'2" here. I don't know if he. I mean, here's the thing, Sean. He will make the team because he's a tremendous special teams player.
Yeah,
he blocked punts. He does everything.
Who's that special teamer for the Cowboys forever? Was it Al Harris? or who
Oh, for the
was?
Cowboys.
Yeah, like they had the dreads, and everything.
Jeez,
Like
great.
I
I
think
can't.
it was Al Harris.
Al Harris. I mean, he was a longtime Packer. Um,
Maybe
I can't remember what. Keep
shit.
thinking on that one, but
Well, like he just seems like he's going to be that kind of guy where he's just a like core special teamer for a long time
yeah, I think he's a wide receiver
and
4,
a
and
wide
then
receiver
he's
for you. Yeah,
yeah, and then he's gonna be like a smoke show on punt returns and punt gunning and all that stuff. Like the thing
yep.
is, when I watch him on tape, he's in that Pat Bryant category where it's just like a classic, can't really get a lot of separation, but just make shit happen in college. I don't think he's gonna get away with that
Yeah.
quite as much in the NFL.
Stupid production at UNLV though.
That's the thing, Sean, is every single time I watched a shitty UNLV game because I bet on Ricky. I bet on him so much on Prize Pick, Sean. It's unbelievable. And he hit every time. He hit the over every time. So I have a love affair for Ricky White because of that. So, but he was very productive. Like you watch the bottom lines on ESPN on those Saturday nights. It's like, oh, there goes Ricky White with another 100 yards. It's like the guy just made plays. So
2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns his last 2 years at
yeah, I mean
UNLV.
that's sick. And UNLV sucks. Like they're horrible. So
Yeah.
like there's something there. Maybe he turns into something good. Who knows? But I just think he doesn't have enough speed. I think he ran like a 4.6 or something. It's just not going to do it. But all right, I took LaQuint Allen at 7.2. This was like another one of my big sleeper backs. I really thought he was a great third down back. Another one that can really block his ass off. And he can make tons of plays out of the backfield. And I thought, like, maybe there's a shot here. Jacksonville with like its new regime, like maybe it could be a handcuff at some point. Let's just hold for the preseason and see what happens.
If you want just the teach shape of how to run just very straight up for
This man runs like a freaking like an oven. The guy just runs straight up, like the absolute 2x4 out there. But boy, but the thing is, he runs
hard though.
This is the hardest running 2x4 I've ever seen in my life, Sean. That guy, he actually, like, I'm worried he will hurt himself because of how hard he runs at how upright he is. So
do you remember the show Ed, Edd n Eddy?
Yeah, he does look like
he's just Plank.
I'm gonna nickname him Plank.
It's called Plank.
I'm gonna put him in there as Plank. I'll do it right after this.
Contact this guys at Sleeper. Just make his profile picture Plank.
Dude, he does run straight up. So when Ashton Genty lines up in the backfield straight up and down,
that's how he runs.
That's how he runs all the time.
He looks like he's playing like fucking Gary's mod. He's just the T position.
he is a very unique looking player. I'll say that. Like the funny thing is like his I literally think, and this is funny because I love this guy too. My comp for him was Charles Sims. Like I love Charles Sims, and he did the same shit. He was 6 foot 204, couldn't run between the tackles, but ran hard and caught the ball. And that's exactly what LaQuint Allen is. So like maybe I don't know, maybe this is the better version, but this is another guy. He's only 20, so like I kind of wanted to just like take a shot and see if he can turn into something. But
I would have assumed he was older. That's a good point.
Anywho, moving along, Nick Nash. I'm surprised he wasn't drafted.
27. How old is Nick Nash?
Yeah, he's 24 apparently, but
yeah, I mean he played in 2019.
I mean he was a quarterback, I think, when he started.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Like he's an older prospect, but this is a team like
great UDFA signing.
Yeah, kind of sneakily needs another receiver outside of like Mooney and like they don't really have another option.
Yeah, it's Ray and
Kaderil Hodge. I mean, like this is tough, man. This is bad.
The guy that's
Philip Dorsett's still in the league, Sean.
Is he really?
Wow. Is he? How old is he? He's 32. Wow. He hasn't been. Look at these numbers. He's terrible, Sean. I didn't even know he was on the Falcons last year. Holy shit. Okay. Well, anywho, here's your Philip Dorsett talk for the next decade. Nick Nash, yeah, like I thought he was an interesting prospect. He's just older, but yeah, good UDFA signing.
Yeah,
that could actually be a hit in case like of a Mooney injury.
1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns last year.
Ooh, that's big money, big production. Quinn Ewers at 7.4. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
Yep, he stinks.
I don't even think he's better than Zach Wilson. Damian Martinez, God, what a terrible landing spot. This is another one of the classic Seahawks taking a running back when they don't need one. That does the exact same thing as the other two running backs. I don't understand it.
Yeah, If you
That's a
said
tough
it
one.
was, if it was just like Charbonnet there, like maybe he goes where like
Yeah, then you can
Samson
believe.
goes,
Yeah.
like around there. But yeah, that's a big hill to climb.
Yeah, I just he was not a draftable prospect after the draft for me. I kind of liked him pre-draft though. He was kind of that same two down banger that Monongai was for me. Keandre Lambert Smith. I actually think this is a pretty sneaky one here for Justin. Like he
He
could actually get a
was
role.
he was. If I didn't want to play defense with Ty Johnson, he was going to be my pick at 6'10".
I think he's a good player. Like I watched a lot of him
Mhm.
actually for some reason. I don't know why, honestly. I fell in love with him after I saw him on I think he was
I
on Gruden's thing.
I think he could push for snaps.
He's gonna play. I think he'll play. And I think he's gonna be a core special teamer for them, which is, fine. But for fantasy, we're just
Gets
shooting for the
you,
moon here.
yeah, gets you a roster spot. So
Vince took Dylan Gabriel at 7-7, which it's kind of just a lottery ticket guy here as well. I thought he would have been an awesome backup for Tua. I think he would be. I wish they would have taken him, but no, who the hell had him going in the third round?
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
relative to his size, he's got a very good arm, but like he's also, I think, played more college football than even Bo Nix did. I think
yeah, he's played a lot of football, man.
yeah, I mean, he's got to be close to like 60 starts in
I mean,
college.
if I'm gonna bet on a late round quarterbacks, these are the kind of guys I would bet on, like guys with a ton of experience.
Mhm. Just a
That being
small.
said, like he's so small, so small. So I don't know how much I believe, but he's got a chance. Jameis Winston probably won't spend too much time there, or Deshaun Watson. So let's do it. I think it's time. You guys waited 3 hours and 30 minutes for this. This is one of our longest podcasts ever. But boy, was it a good time. Got to talk about all the prospects. Let's get your 7-10 here because we're gonna get the schedule release right after this. So Sean, who are we taking?
Buddy, when I tell you there's a running back still on the board that ran for over 2,000 yards last year
Okay, let me
and
guess.
23 touchdowns.
Holy shit. Okay, I remember. We talked about this, I think. Is he white?
Maybe.
Maybe. Is it Lan Larison?
It sure is.
Oh, we got a Lan Larison at 7-10, everybody. It's time.
You gotta unpause the draft though, so I can take it.
I was like, I think I could put it in for you.
That's fine. I was between him and I was between Jimmy Horn Jr.
I like Jimmy Horn Jr.
Because I think Jimmy's gonna play in the NFL.
So Lan Larison, if you're not familiar, he is.
Jesus, I love Lan Larison.
You got to watch his tape. He's just a fun, like he's the Dylan Lobby of this year.
Yeah,
like he's very similar, stylistic.
Any other year, I think he actually gets drafted.
He should have been drafted. He's a great receiver.
Such a good class, like that it makes it tough. But
yeah,
really not that great of a landing spot as EDFA because he went to New England. But
yeah, tough spot, especially with Henderson there. He's like a Henderson handcuff almost.
Okay, good guys. Runner and just really good third down back.
Really good. Okay, so I think I have to unpause the draft in order for the draft order to be set, or for the schedule to be set. So for the two people that are still watching, 3.5 hours later, you've been paid off. It is time to see the schedule and who you are playing week 1. I am excited. I'm going to hit the resume button, and let's see what happens here. Hopefully this works. What do I have to do? Resume. Is that it?
Did we win?
Did I win? Nothing has happened yet. Where's my schedule? We've made all the picks. We've done everything correctly. End draft. Please confirm that you would like to end the draft.
It's a pleasant. Oh, I've got a matchup.
Do we have matchups? I'm playing the Elk.
Oh, baby, I'm playing the Plague twice.
Oh, boy. That's actually a big deal nowadays.
I play the Plague twice.
Wow.
I get the Elk in week 3.
This is exciting stuff. Oh, man. Who plays? When do I get Alex? That's the question. I get the Elk week 1. Let's just quickly on the podcast. We'll talk about the week 1 matchups. We have the Elk versus the Armadillos week 1. We have the Cheese Fries versus the Lambs. We have the Muskrats versus the Bombers. Lake Lure Long Gamers against the Plague, and the Battle Axes against the Lionheads. That's a banger week 1. Boy, what a slate on week 1. Week 2, we have that's us, Sean. Armadillos Long Gamers week 2, Cheese Fryers, Bombers, Muskrats, Battle Axes, Lauderdale Lionheads and Lambs week 2, Kentucky Elk versus Plague week 2. I mean, everything here is fantastic, Sean. I get the Plague early. Okay. Week 3, Armadillos Plague, Cheese Fries Battle Axes, Muskegon Muskrats Lionheads, Long Gamers versus Elk, Bombers versus Lambs. So the real question is, so the first week, the Alex team was, who was it? So Bombers finally get a good schedule draw.
I get the Plague, the Elk, and the Muskrats twice.
You son of a snitch. Oh, that's tough. All right, so I get Elk. Well, I think the Elk are going to be much improved this year, but
no doubt, not an easy win this year, I will say.
No longer an easy one, but the Plague might be in that category now. I get Plague. When do I get the Muskrats? God damn it! I don't get them. Oh, come on! Week 9.
Oh, that's literally.
Oh, we got slapped in the face by the schedule maker. Oh, come on. That's okay. All right. Well, the schedule is out there. I'm gonna have to take a deeper dive into this. But week 1, once again, if you're still listening, Armadillos Elk, Cheese Fries versus Lambs, Muskrats versus Bombers, Long Gamers versus Plague, Battle Axes versus Lionheads. It seems like that last one is a really great one. The Battle Axes versus Lionheads. I'm excited for that one. Should be a really great season. I think this year is going to be very interesting with some of these trades. I think this offseason we still have more moves to be made, Sean. I mean, with
officially have a new first round pick that I can trade away. So
that's true. Hey, now that's Muskrats. Are we going back all in again? We got picks again. The picks are available for trade, I think, at this point.
Trading Puka for 109 and then trading away your first round.
And then trading them all again. The 2028s are available for trade as it stands right now. So I don't think the trading is over. I mean, we just got the big Josh Allen deal, which is so big for both teams, frankly. But now it's going to get really interesting. So to see if these teams keep blowing it up even further. So really looking forward to that. Thank you, whoever stuck around for 3 hours and 36 minutes of this. Oh, I'm going stir crazy here. There will be no rivals played tonight. No. There's a great time. This is one of my favorite podcasts to do every year is the post draft podcast. So thanks again, Sean, for joining me for this long one here.
Yeah,
and once again, please submit any off-season podcast ideas you have. We'll do some. I think the next podcast we'll look at the trades more in depth because we kind of skated through them today.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll look at the trades. I'm sure there'll be some more trades here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll get back to it. I'm just so happy that we're gonna get some OTAs to talk about. We're gonna get some actual football again for a little while, and then training camp should be a banger this year. So I'm really looking forward to it. Sean, thanks for joining me. And we will wrap up episode 89 of the